first time ever, the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour debuts the brand new Pro Show format with a brand new take on qualifying, pre-finals, and racing action. These drivers had a warm-up session around the lunch break, and then they had to wait on the sidelines to get things underway for qualifying. So we're ready to go. Dalton Haynes here on your screen, and that's Sodi Racing USA Sodi Kart will be one of the drivers set to go. And this is a little bit of a quick catch-up on how this is set. Most of the drivers are down in their go-karts ready to be released. Now, yesterday, everyone ran through the normal practice day. That was the same for everyone. That did not change this weekend for the pro drivers. What was new was how they were gridded for qualifying. Typically, we get a fast group and a slow group. They all go out and then the times reverse. Not for the pros. These guys, their session didn't matter as much because they get slotted to even or odd. First, third, fifth, go to Group A. Second, fourth, sixth, Group B. Then the groups that are about to be sent onto the racetrack here will be split, or the top six from each group will be combined into Super Pole, the top 12 to set the first 12 starting spots in the pre-final later this afternoon. So they are all getting ready to roll right now and getting the command. They are lined up in single file order for each lane, but you just have to beat the drivers in your group to transfer through to fight for the pole position. So right now, it doesn't necessarily matter who goes quickest. That'll just set their order for Super Pole. It is about being one of the fastest 6 drivers in your group to transfer through. So obviously, Dalton Haynes, second in happy hour. He will lead us out onto the racetrack in the number 56 Sodi Racing USA machine, along with Diego Ramos as they get set to go. Emma Scarborough, Harley Keeble, and company. So they are ready and lined, and they'll be getting ready to go green here momentarily, Henry.
27 drivers in Pro X30. These are the superstars of North American karting. Drivers from the United States, from Argentina, Mexico, the United Kingdom, Canada, the Netherlands, China, Australia, Brazil, and Poland. They are at the top of their game. They're at the top of the tree in American karting, and they have their own show. They're the pros for a reason. And all the drivers, the personalities, they are going to be showing you their personalities. We at Kart Chaser will be bringing you their personalities. Extended pre- and post-race coverage throughout the season. They get 1 round per weekend. You'll be seeing qualifying, Super Pole, and the pre-final tonight. And then tomorrow, 25 minutes for the final. It will be a very grueling test of driver and machine. You can see the nation's flags that these drivers are representing on their particular driver grids.
So there's a look as we go down through the grid here. You can see all the drivers. This is the lineup for group number 1 in qualifying, all the way down to Austin Garrison and Hayden Jones and further back. Before we get on to qualifying, let's have you take a ride with Brandon Carr here for an onboard lap of what it's like to get around Orlando Kart Center in a Pro X30 machine.
Pro X30 around Orlando Kart Center. Into turn 1, just nice and hard on the brakes, not too fast in because there's not much grip in the middle of the corner, so we've got to keep the kart underneath us. A little hit of the curves just to set the kart up through the left. Nice and hard into here just to make sure we don't hit the curve on the inside because it's a really fast corner. Here, very slick corner as well, so we've got to keep the kart underneath us. Into the bowl, we've just got to try and carry as much speed as possible, but not slide the rear. So we've just got to keep it nice and tight. Over the curves, quite hard. Open the right up. Get a nice run down the long straight into the hard braking right-hander. Extremely hard on the brakes, not locking up too much, but enough just to carry enough speed for it. And don't use any of the rumble strip on the exit. For the last couple of corners, hard over the left-right curve into the last corner, keeping the kart all stable, but trying to get a good run to go down into turn 1. And that's a lap around Orlando Kart Center.
Well, thank you, Brandon Carr, the Steel City Saint from Sheffield, England. He is in just his 4th weekend in X30 Pro. He's had a second in his first weekend. He won on his second weekend at the closing round of the winter series, and of course last weekend he was running up at the front of the Nürburgring Nationals. So we have, there's Angela, our SKUSA grid marshal, keeping things nice and sane down on the dummy grid. Iron fist with a smile on her face, making sure that none of the pro drivers misbehave in any way, shape or form, and we sit and we wait.
Yeah, that's what we're on right now. So while we continue to wait, let's give you the full explanation of what this weekend is like, because Henry, you took a quick lap in the pits. You're able to break it down. Here's what we've got coming your way this weekend, folks.
So, what's new for the 2024 SKUSA Pro Tour? Well, as it happens, an awful lot. First, there's the split between the divisions. 7 classes are now classed as semi-pro, and 2 classes form part of the all-new Pro Show. Then, there's the small matter of the $310,000 prize fund, a record-breaking amount, and one that will surely change the game as a new era in North American karting dawns. So, semi-pro, Micro Swift, Mini Swift, Junior X30, Junior, Senior and KA Masters and Master Shifter are now classed as semi-pro classes. Pro Shifter and Pro X30, formerly known as Senior X30, they form the Pro Show. Now, the semi-pro classes, they will run 2 full rounds at each of the 3 Pro Tour events. The Winter Nationals here at Orlando, the Spring Nationals in Cincinnati, and the Summer Nationals at Newcastle. On Saturday morning and early Saturday afternoon, the semi-pro classes will run their qualifying, pre-finals and finals. That means less waiting around for all the drivers and mechanics, and it gives us at Kart Chaser better chance to cover the stories of the up-and-coming stars of our sport. The pro drivers are also banned from competing in the semi-pro divisions, so that gives the up-and-coming stars more of a chance to shine and make their own mark on the sport before they eventually graduate into the pro classes. Now, this is where it really gets interesting. The Pro Show. On Saturday afternoon and evening, the Pro Show classes will compete in time qualifying, Super Pole, and then the pre-final. Each pro division is separated in 2 groups for qualifying. They've got just 4 minutes to go out and set a time. The top 6 fastest times in each group go through to a 12-kart, single-run Super Pole session that will decide the starting grid for Saturday night's main event, the 17-minute pre-final. Then, on Sunday, after the semi-pro classes have finished their second round, we get underway with the Pro Show finals. Kart Chaser will have extended pre-race and post-race coverage as we go in depth like never before with the biggest stars of our sport. The finals, Sunday night, prime time is the right time. A grueling 25-minute final for Pro X30 and Pro Shifter. It will be the ultimate test of driver and machine, not to mention the prize fund. In semi-pro, there's $1,000 on the line for each winner and a total prize fund across all 7 classes for the whole season, including the championship, of $170,000. But in Pro Show, this is where it gets really serious. $5,000 for the winner of each final. The champion will earn over $15,000, with the prize fund going all the way down to 10th place in the championship after 3 rounds. No drop scores, every lap counts. Then that means $130,000 are on the line for just those 2 classes. The stakes have never been higher. The only way you can watch the all-new Pro Show, the groundbreaking SKUSA 2024 Pro Tour, is on Kart Chaser. It's a pleasure to be able to bring you what could be a real game changer in our sport. So buckle up, you're not going to want to miss this.
And And here we go as the carts get released. It's time for Group 1 to head onto the racetrack, the first half of the Pro X30 grid. So again, these drivers, were the even-numbered drivers from final practice yesterday. Dalton Haynes was second from final practice yesterday. Diego Ramos, fourth. Emma Scarborough, sixth. Harley Keeble, eighth. Santiago Fernandez, 10th. Those are your first 5 on the racetrack. Separate themselves however they'd like. All that matters is you go in the top 6 in your group to transfer to Super Pole. So here we go for the off-pole lane. Everyone back from 6th will be locked into the outside lane. That'll start with the man or woman that finishes 7th. They will go 14th on the grid for the pre-final here, Henry.
Yes, indeed. And of course, this is a short session, okay? But you've got to try and gamble. Am I going to make the top 6? Have I got enough setup left in the car at the right pressures to run 2 more fast laps to maybe get pole position? So this is why the pro teams and the pro drivers are who they are. Now, we're not going to see drivers slowing down, backing off like we would in normal. This is flat out, right from the word go. Haynes, Ramos, Keeble and Scarborough.
Diego Ramos said he loved this new format there in second, as how much he was able to work with the younger drivers. And the same for Harley Keeble. You just watched one of his Saudi compatriots battle it out and take a race win in Mini Swift. He's been able to work with those drivers all day. Now they're going to be watching their 2 drivers here and see what they do. First lap in, Santi Fernandez to the top. No, Austin Garrison all the way to the top of the boards on the opening lap here of this 4-minute session. So Keeble and Ramos still lining up, but those first 3, not necessarily the quickest. It's Garduno on the RPG Cosmic, first driver in the cut zone right now. Haynes would go through to Super Pole. Diego Ramos would be out. Austin Garrison right now well safe and in at a 55.85 on his opening lap.
He is the only speed concepts driver in the pro show, Austin Garrison from Davie, Florida. He's got a little bit of clean air between himself and the lead group. There's Alessandro Di Tullio watching on from pit lane. It's still Garrison, Garduno, Fernandez, Keeble, and then Saudi Kart. That's Maxim Harutanian and Dalton Haynes at top 6. Ramos, Hotz, Scarborough, Turaboyski, Boutillier, and Constantini are out as Keeble goes to the top of the charts. Garrison to 3rd. Ramos now on the pole as the times keep tumbling. On the bubble is Garduno.
And again, it doesn't matter right now if they go 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. All that matters is they transfer through to the Super Pole. So that's why Austin Garrison wasn't playing around. He went by himself and gave a big gap to that group of 5 that went out at the front. But we're getting towards the end. Garduno is following him. Here's a look at Josh Holtz coming through on the Holtz Driver Development Tony Kart. He's right now outside looking in to go to Super Pole. 8th right now for the number 22, ahead of Kapker Turaboyski in 11th. Here with a minute to go, and while Holtz on screen, there's his teammate, Nick Terlecki, looking on from the other half of the group, watching his team owner try to qualify his way into Super Pole, and we're going to start the final laps now, so this will be the important run as Ramos still on top. Garrison and Garduno populating the top 6, and now Scarborough is in, Fernandez is out as they continue to roll. Josh Holtz down to 10th here at the end of lap number 3.
Okay, remember these names: Ramos, Keeble, Garduno, Garrison, Haynes and Scarborough. At the moment, they're in the first ever SKUSA Pro Tour Super Pole. But there's 1 lap to go. Everyone's built up to this moment. We're watching the 64 kart of
Maxim Haruchi, and he's a little further back. Let's see the leaders as they go through. Here's that second group, but the leaders are coming to complete their final lap to transfer. Dalton Haynes will be the first one across the line. Right now, he's only in 5th, just barely in. Needs a really good final lap for the 56 machine. Cross the line, that was good. Haynes, Ramos, Keeble, top of the boards. Let's see, Garrison and Garduno. Garduno to 3rd, Garrison's 5th. Will he get bumped? Emma Scarborough still hanging on by 1/100th. And indeed, Scarborough, last one through. Kapker Turaboyski almost sneaks his way into Super Pole. And Santiago Fernandez as well comes up 1/2 tenth shy in 8th in the group. So the 6 transferring out into Super Pole. All that can adjust is air pressure in the tires in the next 10 minutes when they roll through the scales. Harley Keeble, fastest in Group A at a 53.83. Ramos, Garduno, Dalton Haynes, Austin Garrison, and Emma Scarborough. Now that was Group 1. let's watch group number 2 as they head onto the racetrack. And the number 2 plate, Ryan Norberg, will lead us out here. Mr. Orlando, Mr. 8 time, first onto the racetrack here as he was fastest in final practice. ADT, second in line. Donovan Bonilla, in fact, it's an RPG heavy second group here. This is the inside lane. Who gets out of this one as they start at lap 1, Henry?
But of course, there's no time to play the team game. Yes, there's 3 RPG karts up there, but with Henry Leppard also in this particular group, but there's no time. They've got to just go. Now again, we don't need to worry about who's faster, Group 1 or Group 2 or whatever like that. Now, it's just a simple case of the top 6 in each group. Then the times we amalgamate so we know which order they go out in for Super Pole. But it's Norberg, DiTullio, Bonilla, Jones, Tulecki and Brandon Carr who were the fastest 6 drivers. The drivers that need to pick up, Nanji, Massimino and the rest.
Ryan Norberg and ADT got big wins at the Winter Series earlier this year, and it snapped a big winning drought for both of them. ADT right now between the two, still a little bit slower on the opening lap as Norberg has started to pull away. And of course, Donovan Bonilla, the next one in line there in the 29 here as the first lap comes complete. I talked to him on Thursday. The last 2 wins he's had, both Supernats and at the Winter Series, he said that I was slow on Thursday or Friday, and then he goes out and he wins the thing. Well, he said he was fast actually Thursday, and I said, really? That's not normally a good sign for you. He said, oh no, actually I was slow. There was one session I was a little bit off, but Bonilla right now, the last driver in on the outlap, to be fair. Back to Jones, who is on the outside looking in. Nick Terlecki is in. Paulie Massimino in right now, further back as we work our way through the group. Down to Hayden Jones in the 13. How about it for this young man out of North Carolina? He hasn't had nearly the amount of seat time that the guys around him have. Had to miss the Winter Series, had to miss the test weekend of the Norberg Pro Kart Invitational, going to college and engineering track. So a very busy school schedule, limited budget, but he's here this weekend.
And this is a very international group here. We've got a lot of new fans and new subscribers from Australia because we've got both Australians in this group. Super Cooper Lyle in the number 72 kart is 8th fastest. And the Wizard of Oz, Gabe Balanka, is just behind his countryman as well. And a big hello to everybody in Australia and the land from down under. But it's Norberg, DiTullio, Massimino, Carr, Jones and Tulecki, the 6 transfer drivers at the moment.
Yeah, Brandon Carr, man, from not too far from where you're from as well. The United Kingdom has a couple of entrants here this weekend. The number 26 right now, like you said, safely in 4th. But they're going to come to the line this time for that final lap. That was the money lap for almost everybody in the opening group. And Paulie Massimino still third. He had a very struggled filled practice run through the weekend here, but it seems like the BJR MDR LN kart has found a little more speed overnight and through the warm-up this morning. Right now, just inside the top 6 in 4th as we start the final lap here, and this will be the run to the line. Norberg still topping the boards, but it is anyone's guess who is the other 5 that could join him.
So Brandon Carr, the driver on our screens now, has just been knocked out of Super Pole as things stand. Norberg, Jones, DiTullio, Massimino, Bonilla and Tulecki in as half a lap to go. Checker flag will be out this time round.
Oh, Terlecki slowed down on that final lap. Nick Terlecki backed off as Carr got around him. Massimino's going to catch the 88 car, and this could hurt all of their lap times here and potentially changes who goes through. Up front, Norberg will be the first one across the line if we can catch him. Here comes this group through the final turn. Up front, Ryan Norberg across the line. Final time. His lap will be a 53.6, nothing better. Back behind him, we're waiting for the rest of the group to go through, and all the time cycling, nobody really improves except for Donovan Bonilla, who keeps Brandon Carr out.
And Nick Terlecki slowed Brandon Carr down. There, and of course that Nick Terlecki, Brandon Carr was the first driver that could have knocked Terlecki down. I'm wondering if we're starting to see the first of a new style tactic in qualifying. I'm sure that, but the hot driver development, Nicholas Terlecki is in. Paulie Massimino for Brandon Jarzacrack and Mike Doty Racing is in. And then you've got the trio of RPG karts and of course ADT, DiTullio in. Now we move straight over to the Pro Shifter qualifying session. Of course, SKUSA have got to go and do the weight, and they will hold the top 12 drivers in. They'll establish the order in which they go out in Super Pole, and it's now the turn of Pro Shifter.
Well, the two RPG guns, Marin Kremers and Danny Formal, are split up after they went 1-2 in final practice. Let's take you through the lineup for Group 1 here. Kremers, second in final practice in the number 1 plate. The two-time reigning series champ is back in America for the first time since his newly signed Tony Kart factory ride. He'll lead off this group. Behind this young gun, Jay Irwin. The Kiwi has been so fast here in his limited stateside starts. He's set for a full SKUSA Pro Tour with PSL karting. He'll be the second one onto the racetrack, trying to transfer into the Fast Six that go to Super Pole. How about Giorgio Carrara from Buenos Aires, Argentina? He's amped up and ready on that Inter-MS Kart Republic, and a good run to start his weekend there in the 46. Here's the number 2 plate, Kyle Wick, all the way from Washington, ready to get underway here on the GFC karting machine. He was just 3 points shy of a national title, his second in a decade for himself. He wants to get that number 1 plate this year, and then it's Canadian David Greco in the number 15. That'll be the next one out here in Group 1. You go further back, well, it's another GFC. How about the number 3 plate? Jacob Gulick, the surprise double winner from last year's Pro Tour weekend in Utah, and a surprise championship contender by the end. He's ready to make it no longer a surprise. He is ready to battle. Then you go back to Cooper Becklin on the RPG Cosmic in the number 19, and further down the rest of the lineup here with Joseph Lonnie, Justin White, Daniel Fellows, Jared Ramnarayan, Ethan Boer, and David Trefilov. Watch David Trefilov rolling from the back in the number 13 Maranello Kart USA SRP factory machine. He was underweight in final practice. He was one of the faster drivers as well. This is a stacked opening group, Henry.
Absolutely. The stakes have never been higher. The quality has never been higher. You are looking at the two-time reigning Pro Tour champion, Marin Kremers. Now, in the world of kart racing, to be a Tony Kart factory driver is the equivalent of being given the keys to the lead Ferrari or now Red Bull in Formula One. It is the ultimate seat in world karting, and Kremers has that because of his talent and over the reputation he's gained in this category, in this championship over the last 2 seasons. Now we're going to see him at work. It is absolutely, you know what, to the floor, and 4 minutes up and down the gears as we go through turn number 10. Here is a look now at Danny Formal watching his new teammate, former arch rival, progress. As we'll come across the line now, Xander Clements will pick up who are the current 6 drivers in Super Pole in Pro Shifter.
Opening laps coming through. Jay Irwin with a fast flying lap to start things off at a 52.72. The GFC's populating into the top 6. Trefilov a little further back, but typically we've seen some of the drivers, especially from Europe, do a slower opening lap, a faster second lap. But Jay Irwin, one of the youngest drivers on the grid, I'm not even sure if he's turned 16 years old yet, against a number of veterans in their early to mid to late 20s and beyond. Jay Irwin taking it for the young guns here, and he right now is the quickest on the opening lap. But this lap looks pretty good for Marin Kremers. Maybe even having to wait for one more, as that was a lot of wheel input in turn number 10. So we'll keep our eye on him. How about Giorgio Carrara, though? He's the last man in right now. Said he felt pretty good with his piece earlier in the week. Can the Inter-MS boys get both of their leading guns into Super Pole? As Mateus Morgado looks on, Carrara moves up initially. He'll get bumped. The GFC's to the top. Kyle Wick, 50.94 here with about 2 laps to go.
Just outside the top 6 behind Carrara, just in white. Then Daniel Fellows, the nephew of the legendary Ron Fellows. Then it's Cooper Becklin, Jared Ramnarayan, Joseph Lowney, and Big Sky, Ethan Boer, the driver from Montana, on the 3rd of the GFC karts. But it is Wick, Irwin, Kremers, the Roman Emperor David Greco, Gulick, and Trefilov. Don't forget, Trefilov is going to be the last kart pretty much to take the flag because he started right at the back of this group. So Trefilov has got pace, and he could be the last kart to cross the line, which could knock somebody out.
And they're going to get about one more, maybe two more laps in here in the 4-minute timer. Wick again resets fast time, 50.62. Talked to Kyle right before morning warm-up here. They were one of the many drivers that bolted on a new set of Avinco tires during the lunch break warm-up. He said, you know, it sucks to go ahead and bolt on another set in practice, but we needed it. We need to try something crazy because we are not what we need to be, both for himself and for Jacob Gulick. Right now, they are safely into Super Pole as one of them just bailed into the pit lane. And I think it might have been Wick. So Wick might be happy with the lap he's got and is going to bail and try to go in early and save just one lap earlier on the tires.
This is like Formula One. You've got a driver who thinks they're safe in session 1 and 2. They come in and they don't do the last run. He's saving a lap on his tires. It could be critical with this new format. Now, Kremers has just gone fastest, so Wick in the pits. He was banking on nobody beating him. Well, he's still in the Super Pole as the checker flag comes out. Kremers knocks him off top spot, however, and Irwin, Gulick, Carrara, and Trefilov.
And it's not over. It's not over. Here, the first half of the group got through before the checkered flag. Trefilov did not. He is on the bubble. A lot of them are going to bail in. David Greco is on the outside looking in. He's going for one more. There he is. Here is your first bit of drama in Pro Shifter. David Trefilov having the DQ. I don't know if he made it around for one more lap as Greco. A big bobble on his final lap. He's outside the cut zone by less than 100th. Thousandths of a second take him out. Trefilov did make it. It was Justin White that I think missed it, so Trefilov should be good. But David Greco on his final lap had a big slide into turn 10. He will not transfer into Super Pole. Trefilov is still good as Justin White will not transfer either. And David Trefilov by just a mere, just only 7 thousandths transfers through over David Greco. So David Trefilov is in. Carrara, Gulick, Irwin, Wick, and Marin Kremers, the 6 drivers that transfer through. Let's look at Group 2 now, Henry.
Yes, indeed. Danny Formal, the big guy, leads them out. We've got Matheus Morgato, the SKUSA Winter Series champion. That was a great head-to-head fight between them down at Homestead, Miami. Also in this group, I'm just looking down to see we have got Filip Niemkiewicz, Michael Riccio, the All-American Billy Musgrave, Talon Yockel, AJ Myers, Hunter Pickett, Danny Formal, Matheus Morgato, Gavin Bailiff, whose brother is a winner already, Vincenzo Saracino, Charlie Steins, Anthony Martella, and Eli Fox.
So with this one here, a big group for group number 2. Again, don't pay attention to the few names that have stuck at the bottom of the screen. They are out. They already transferred or already ran Carrara, Greco, Trefilov, and White. But first laps in for the big guy. This is the big story of the weekend. No one has done more driving, just driving. I'm talking about seat time over the last, over today and tomorrow than Danny Formal. He's got a test at Sebring with Wayne Taylor racing with Andretti for his IMSA career. It was a last-minute test. He said, I've already committed to run the pro show for RPG. So he drove 2.5 hours to Sebring this morning, 10 a.m., sent me a text while we were live, was a second and a half quicker than any other car there at the racetrack, then drove back and said, Xander, I might need a little delay. I said, don't worry, we're a little behind. You're going to make it. Made it in for qualifying. He's got to do it again tomorrow, but he's ready. He had his mechanic go out in the kart for warm-up, and now Danny Formal, hot off the fast lap and happy hour, sets the benchmark over this guy, the former OK Senior World Champion in his first American Pro Shifter season, Matheus Morgato, who was able to get the better of him at the Winter Series. And I caught Morgato earlier today. I said, well, what do you think? Do you finally have something for him? He's like, oh yeah. No, we've got Formal covered.
And this is exact transcript of the conversation between Michael Andretti and Danny Formal. Danny, come to Sebring. You're going to race IMSA. I'm not sure about that. Why? Because I got to go karting. Karting? Well, it's the pro show. Oh, okay. Off you go.
Here's a look back to another one of the pros. The GFC boys already have 2 of their major contenders into the Super Pole. Hunter Pickett was watching them on in the Jim Weed GFC number 36. Let's see what he's got here this time by as we put another lap in. Pickett out, or no, just barely in 6th right now, but now he'll get bumped as AJ Myers closes in. Billy Musgrave is in right now. Myers is in. Filip Niemkiewicz is in there in 5th, and Vincenzo Saracino on the Maranello Kart USA team trying to join his teammate David Trefilov in Super Pole. He's in. Pickett is on the outside looking in right now, while AJ Myers, who dominated the season finale in Newcastle but was out of championship contention as they were switching engine manufacturers and rebuilding their Magic Kart USA race program last year. He missed round 3 and 4 in Utah. He's ready to go back and get himself another title. One of the most decorated pro shifter American pilots in the last 2 decades. AJ Myers right now is in a really rough spot because he's catching Hunter Pickett on what could be the money lap to transfer through. He goes fourth. That's not necessarily safe with 45 seconds to go.
And the American underdog, Billy Musgrave, chassis builder, team owner, and now Pro Series driver, there he is. He is in 3rd place, just 0.3 of a second behind Morgato and Formal.
We just had a few carts pull in by us. I think Myers might have been one of them. No, but
Nope.
Musgrave backed off. So Musgrave is in. Formal is in. Morgato might be in, and Myers also looking back. He's
Okay.
like looking
Wow.
to the mechanic sign saying, am I all right? Because he tried to pass Hunter Pickett, couldn't get by him.
They're in for now. At some point, somebody is going to pull in, and it's going to be the wrong move. It worked for the first group because David Greco made a mistake on his last lap. Is it going to work with the second group? We're going to find out very shortly. Checkered flag goes out. The 36 of Hunter Pickett.
He got in, I think, before the checkers. We'll have
Okay.
to see if Pickett's going to get one more lap. It's right on the 4-minute mark. New change inside the top 6. Anthony Martella moves through into Super Pole. He bumps out Vincenzo Saracino. Pickett to the pit lane, will not transfer.
And big time, Charlie Steins on the GP Factory Fury kart is in. Super Pole. Out goes Yockel, Saracino, Riccio, Pickett, Niemkovic, Bailiff, and Fox. And we have got 3 Americans, make that 3 Americans, a Canadian, the big guy from Costa Rica, and former world champion Mateus Morgato in Super Pole from Group 2. What a story. You got the big names and you got the underdogs all getting it together in this new format.
And again, look at some of the big names falling further back. Niemkovic was in, drops all the way to 11th. That'll put him outside the top 20 for the pre-final later this afternoon. Pickett will start, I believe, 19th. Niemkovic, 21st. Michael Riccio, Talon Yockel, out. Vincenzo Saracino on the final lap gets bumped by the rookie Anthony Martella, teammate to this guy, Ryan Norberg, who is safely through, of course, to Super Pole, hot off the fastest time so far through official practice. He's standing by here with Caleb Vieska while the Pro X30s get ready.
Thank you, Xander. Here with flying Ryan Norberg, right? Already into the Super Pole. You could say, I guess, the final stage of qualifying, right? All-out battle for the pole position. You only have 2 laps. You know, what's the mindset coming into this one? Because it's going to be only 2 laps, like I said.
Well, we've done a lot of practice out alone, so I think it really, it doesn't change us much. We were fast, kind of on the quicker stuff. We've been practicing for this, so the mindset's really just, go out and just, you gotta put a lap together. I mean, it obviously adds a lot more stress to your lap because normally you've got 2 or 3 to do it, so you make a little mistake, it's okay. But really, it's pretty intense. So. Yeah, I mean, the field's close. I mean, if we just go out there and put something together, we should be, within the top 3, I think.
Yeah, and you weren't allowed to make any changes throughout this downtime. They impounded y'all's carts. You can only change tire pressure. I know you're not going to tell me what exactly you did, but did you make some changes during that time?
No, I mean, we really can't make anything. So, yeah, I mean, so far we're just going with what we have. Things fast.
Sounds good. Best of luck.
Thanks.
All right, there is Ryan Norberg here as the drivers' meeting is underway. So, again, the rules here for Super Pole is they're going to be gapped out. They go green on the first time by for 2 laps. They are not allowed to wait up. They are not allowed to go find a friend.
Yep.
They cannot get a tow. This is by yourself,
Yep.
gapped, and you cannot reset. If you do, again, they're going to send you to the rear, which would be to 12th in the group. So it's 2 laps. Go ahead and see who can get on top.
Do you know what? Take a picture of this moment. This is the first Super Pole. Here are your contenders. It's like a step into the unknown. And, every single one of them is glued to the words. They're smiling. They know. The drivers know. And you know, you've been doing so much work, Xander, with the teams, and you know the various issues that teams have. But the drivers, they are loving this.
Well, we're going to get to see them go ahead and flex their muscle. 2 laps, boys and girls. Did you set your pressures right? That's all you can change. Here's ADT stepping out of the driver's meeting. Caleb, let's see if we can snag him.
Thank you, Xander. Here at Trackside with ADT, right? You were quicker yesterday, and it seems like you and Ryan have been going at it all weekend long, right? To see who's faster. Do you think you found anything, I guess, overnight to try and keep up with Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, we're quick. They're just super fast the first 2-3 laps, so. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's pressures or if it's just their kart setup is better for the first 2 laps. But I think now with the, with the new tire being cleaned off, I think we should be better.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
That's the big thing here for a lot of these drivers to get used to is, again, a lot of drivers are doing new tire runs knowing that main event tomorrow is on new tires, of course, to transfer to Super Pole on new tires, but they're going on scuffs. So that's the one price to pay to go to Super Pole. You don't get to bolt another set of tires on. You got to be good on that second heat cycle as well to qualify on the pole. It's only 2 extra laps, so you're not necessarily going to be at a huge disadvantage to the rest of the field. But again, 2 laps to go ahead and set the first 6 rows of the pre-final later today. Here's a look at the 2 Sodi boys, Dalton Haynes and Harley Keeble, getting set to go. Both of them have safely transferred through to Super Pole. Caleb, take it away.
Thank you, Xander. So, like we've said, right, you boys aren't allowed to work together. You guys have to go. You guys can't wait up. So does that kind of, I guess, affect you guys a little bit that y'all can't work together? I know you guys like being so close to each other.
Wow. Okay. No, I don't think it affects it at all. It's fair for everyone, I mean, if no one catches anyone, no one works together, I think it'll be fine. The fastest driver will go pole.
I think it would kind of help us if everyone's alone. And then it just helps us a lot more with track position, everything like this, instead of people getting drafts. And so, yeah, it should help us.
So would you say that, I guess, position doesn't really matter here, right? So do you think tire warm-up on the lap is going to be super critical to try and put on pole?
Yeah, tire warm-up, but it's more tire pressure than tire warm-up. Everyone warms up the tires the same, so it's mostly about tire pressure. Who nailed it,
I think track position helps quite a bit because I wasn't as fast as I thought I was before, and then I put it in P1 in my group, so I'm pretty sure track position helps. But if everyone's on their own, then everyone's in the same boat. And I don't know, I seem to be switching on the tires pretty quick, so I think we're good.
All right, well, best of luck, you guys.
All right, there you have it from Harley Keeble and Dalton Haynes. And now the official lineup is in, so they're going to begin to suit up. There is a look at the SCR Red Speed of Austin Garrison. He is the only Speed Contest Racing entry, and they have pushed him on through into Super Pole, and he was safe there very easily and running by himself. Wasn't towing off anyone in his group, just safely made it on in. So let's hear what the Navy, Florida native has to say. He was kind of under the radar in practice. Caleb?
Thank you, Xander. I think you said it right? Under the radar all weekend in practice. You were even working on your own stuff at one point. Yesterday, we were checking in with you, and you're working on your own stuff. And you said, you had to do some changes overnight to try and find that pace.
Yeah, we went, we tried some things to go and benefit our pace, and we just barely squeaked it in, in the top 6. But, my first couple of outlaps been okay, so it's just a green-white checkered. So I think I'd be okay to, advance a little bit in this run. But we're still not happy with our pace. We're still struggling with the go-kart a little bit. So after this, we're gonna go and make a big adjustment for the pre-final and cross our fingers.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
And here shortly, while we have time, I'm going to go back to Paulie Massimino, another guy who was under the radar in practice, also working on his stuff a little bit yesterday, turning the wrenches for himself. Nothing has fallen off, finds himself in the fight here for the Super Pole. Paulie, you're a guy of not many words, but just as best as you can, describe to me your feelings coming into this one.
I'm pretty happy. We've been kind of slow all weekend. We've been just trying a bunch of different things, and we can't seem to hit on anything. So I felt like qualifying was a little bit of a step in the right direction. Kart felt the best it's felt all weekend. We'll see what we have here. But, yeah, we'll give it a go, see how it goes.
Sounds good. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Helmets are on, so that means it's about that time here for Super Pole. So let's see again how the lineup is set for Super Pole. Again, it goes out. This is just not in order, I believe, for us. Actually, it may
Well, we'll see the order next time, but let's just look at the teams and the people in this group because, okay, you've got 3 drivers from RPG.
Four, sorry. Norberg's graphic not showing up, but that graph, my mistake. We are correct on the lineup there. Norberg will lead us off. Hayden Jones, I believe, was second fastest in his group behind Norberg, so he's lined up right behind him. Then it's ADT. Who will go third in the line on that group. And I believe it was a merge at the time, so that's what set them for the order for Super Bowl. So an overall merge here, but that doesn't matter so much. This is just the order they're sent onto the racetrack to try to get it where none of them catch each other, none of them get any traffic. Here's Keeble, who was 4th overall, but quickest in his group. Of course, they were first on the racetrack, so he might actually have a little more pace than that when they're on even playing field.
But just you look at there, you can see there's Donovan Bonilla. But you've got the Birrell of Ramos with the PSL card. You've got the hot strive development stuff of Telecki. You have got the Inter MS cards. You've got the Speed Concepts cards. You've got Nash Motorsports. You've got the Brandon Jars of Crack Mike Doty Racing card. You've got every single team. Okay, not every team has made it in, but so many teams, they have got their A game together for this. I don't think anybody has been caught napping in the preparation for this. And you've seen, yes, we got a couple of surprises. Yes, we got a couple of big names not in. But it's a great 12 drivers to decide the front 6 rows of the grid for the pre-final. There's a man, big money on the line. We'll talk about big money. Diego Ramos, after last week's Norberg Invitational, looking down the order. You've got the Sony cart there. You've got the only lady in the pro show classes, Emma Scarborough. She is there as well. Talk about breakout stars. Is she going to be the first big driver, or the first driver to make their name in the pro show?
Yeah, and again, not only lady, but the only Nash Motorsports entry in the X30 Pro or Pro X30 class, and she's transferred in. How about it as well? Keep your eye on rookie Christian Garduno in his first full season with Rawlston Performance Group, as Neil Strickland, the on-track race official, is making sure they're gapped. Everyone's got a healthy gap, and no one's allowed to reset. 2 laps for Super Pole. That's all you get. As soon as they hit the finish line, Ryan Norberg has been the man they're all chasing, and they don't get to follow him this time. They have to hold the gaps here on the opening lap and make sure that nobody gets a tow here in it. And again, scuffed tires. RPG, one of the many teams that try to go new tires at warm-up. So how good are they on used rubber here on that second heat cycle, Henry?
Yep, indeed. We're going to see, you can see Norberg, he's using a lot of front end to try and get the heat back into those tires. Now, everybody listen to the driver's briefing, and I think they all know the stakes are high. They all know all the work that's gone into this, and I don't think we're going to see anybody manipulating the rules here. These are the pro drivers for a reason, and yeah, this is their chance. They all say, well, do you know what, I want to go out, may the best driver win. This is going to really help being on our own. The karts are all evenly spread out around the circuit. Norberg is going to be the first driver to lay down a time. His teammate Jones will be next. Then it will be DeTulio. Then it'll be Keeble, Bonilla, Ramos, and ignore the gaps. That's just the gaps, the leaders. We're going to be getting qualifying lap times in a minute. So we'll get the timing screens up for you. So here we are. White flag, 1 lap to go. Norberg, 55.42. Jones, 55.7. DeTulio, 55.7. Keeble goes second. DeTulio down to 5th. Bonilla is 6th. Yes, ignore the order on your screens. I'll give you the order as we go. So it's Norberg, Keeble, Jones, DeTulio. Garduno goes 4th as the last drivers complete lap number 1. All 12 drivers have now completed the opening lap.
So final time through. We'll wait to see here. And again, we'll pull those times back up for, I believe, Pro Shifter. We do apologize about the glitch with the ticker, but Ryan Norberg to Hayden Jones to ADT. We're waiting on the last few to come out of turn 10. Everybody looks a little more planted. This is the money lap. Ryan Norberg across the line. Where is the number 2 plate? Across the line. Norberg 54.139. Hayden Jones 54.525. Keeble 54.43. He'll go 3rd. Garduno, Bonilla across the line. He'll go 4th. Ramos to 2nd. Here comes Paulie Massimino. Any surprises? 7th for him. Nick Terlecki, 4th for Nick Terlecki across the line on the Hoots DD. Garduno to 9th. Dalton Haynes, second in the 56. Here comes Austin Garrison, ninth. And last across the line, Emma Scarborough at the stripe, P12 for the Nash Motorsports machine. Ryan Norberg on pole. Dalton Haynes pulls one out there to go to P2. Ramos to third, ADT to fourth, and Nick Terlecki to P5. We'll pull the results here momentarily for you guys on the sheet. Don't worry about that. But again, for now, Ryan Norberg over Dalton Haynes, Diego Ramos, ADT, Nick Terlecki, P5, Harley Keeble, Donovan Bonilla, Hayden Jones, Austin Garrison, Paulie Massimino, and then Emma Scarborough, the 12 in order. Norberg by a 10th and a half. Caleb?
Hey, Ryan, pole position for you, right? Super pole, fastest out of everybody here. You know, walk me through the emotions, right, on pole position here.
It's definitely cool to get it. I mean, it was definitely a lot shorter than you think. You know, you in your head, you're like, one lap, it's doable, but it's a lot more stressful when you're out there because, you know, you really sacrifice that first lap just to keep getting pressure in the tires, and it really comes down to just like one lap. You know, there's no mistakes, and so it made a couple mistakes on that lap. Not like super happy with it, but definitely happy we got pole. Yeah, we just got to keep the cart out front. I mean, right now it's just about, you know, keeping this pace on it, keeping the cart underneath me, saving the tires, and making sure we're there for the 25-minute final.
Exactly right. And in the previous races this year, you haven't had the best of luck at your home track. I know you're looking to change that here this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff we had before was just, you know, random, you know, weight and stuff, a bunch of random stuff. But those are long gone, and we've got some speed now, and we're happy to keep it up front.
Sounds good. Well, congratulations on the pole position. There you guys have it. Flying Ryan Norberg on pole in X30 Pro.
Well, there we go. And, of course, the president of the Norberg Nation will be our first ever SKUSA Super Pole winner. Let's take you through the provisional order. Of course, the drivers still have to go through tech and everything like that. It will be Ryan Norberg from Dalton Haynes, from Diego Ramos, and Alessandro De Tullio in fourth. Nicholas Terlecki, fifth fastest, and Harley Keeble. He'll start the pre-final sixth, followed by Donovan Bonilla, Hayden Jones, Austin Garrison, Paulie Massimino, Christian Garduno, and Emma Scarborough. The order of there. Now, of course, Ryan Norberg was first out, and he held on to top spot, but the main mover of the drivers that started further back in the single file order is this driver, and that is Dalton Haynes, who is down with Caleb Bieska.
Dalton Haynes starting on the front row alongside Ryan Norberg later today in the pre-final. You know, kind of hard starting on the outside around here into turn number one. Just walk me through how you're feeling going into the pre-final.
Yeah, I feel great. I didn't get too good of a run in the, whatever you want to call it, Q1 of the qualifying because I was first out. Really just didn't feel great, and then Sodi boys made a really good decision to adjust the tire pressure. I won't say where, but they made a really good decision to adjust the tire pressure, and it worked for us. We were P2, like you said. And no, to answer your question, I'm not really too worried about starting P2 on grid. I did it in the Norberg Invitational, actually, and I ended up P2 off the start because I got a good start. So I think it's good. It's a good position. It shows our speed. You know, it's a really long pre-final, so the start really doesn't matter as long as it's clean. So as long as I can get a clean start, I'll be happy.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
There you go from Dalton Haynes. Now, Diego Ramos qualified third, and he was not terribly far off of Haynes, but Haynes definitely the closest man to Ryan Norberg. A 54.29 for Dalton Haynes, a 54.13 for Ryan Norberg. And for this Brazilian who won $10,000 last Saturday night, well, he's trying to get closer to $5,000 in Sunday's main. He rolls off third in today's pre-final here. Caleb?
Thank you, guys. Here with Diego Ramos, only a third there. Walk me through your lap, right? You only had 2 laps out there. I know a lot of guys had to sacrifice that first one, but walk me through your lap. Did you think it was worthy for the pole?
I mean, I don't know. I think I gave 120%. I was in the limit. I think Norberg is just a 10 faster than everyone. But yeah, we're seeing the races. I did my best. The go-kart was good. The engine was good. Just missed 110 for Norberg.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck going into the pre-final.
Thank you.
There you go. Still just missing a little bit for the PSL karting BRL driver. They're waiting for the last little bit here for Pro X30 before they scale these boys on through. And again, the final results here from them. Ryan Norberg to Dalton Haynes, Diego Ramos, ADT, Nick Terlecki with a great qualifying effort to finish 5th over Harley Keeble, Donovan Bonilla, Hayden Jones, Austin Garrison, Paulie Massimino, Christian Garduno, and Emma Scarborough. We will be taking a moment here to step away, and when we return, Pro Shifter Super Pole will get underway.
Commercial break.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway to professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Welcome back here to Orlando Kart Center for Super Pole for Pro Shifter. Next up onto the grid. And again, to give you an update of how we got to this point. Final practice yesterday, split the group down the middle. Half of the front runners went over to Group A. That was the odd-numbered finishers from Happy Hour. The other went to Group B, the even-numbered side. Then from those two split groups down the middle, the top 6 have transferred to combine to a 12-man Super Pole qualifying session. 2 laps, basically all coming down to the final lap of the 2 to lay down a heater and set the starting lineup. So much of this weekend, especially in the gearbox classes, hinges on getting that 1-lap pace. And that's, again, trying to figure out how to do it on scuffed tires will be the important part here, to not wear them out on the outlap as well, but at the same time to get the most out of them. One man that's smiling right here and seems to be having a good reason for it is Marin Kremers. Alex?
Thank you, Xander. Marin, you just watched your X30 senior teammate put it on pole position. Now it's your turn. What's it going to take to put it on pole position here in only a 2-lap shootout?
A quick lap. I mean, easy as that. Brian just did it. You just got to have a clean lap in, and then I think we'll be fast.
Yeah, I mean, with how tough a shifter is to drive in general, especially around this place, with all the focus that is required. I mean, just to get that mentality just locked in for 2 laps, how tough is that?
I mean, I've been doing this for so long that for me it's second nature almost. So I don't think it's that tough. But for sure, for someone that's not used to it, it's tough. You've got to go all out for 2 minutes, and then that's it. So and then if you mess up, you're going to start 12th. So it's a lot counting on this.
One more thing. You got some data from that first round there with the 4-minute qualifying. Now 2 laps. Do you think you have a piece underneath you to go out there and get a quick lap in 2 laps?
I think so. I mean, at the beginning of that first run, I didn't push. So once I started pushing, the pace was there. So yeah, I just tried to conserve the tires a little bit so I could go hard in this one.
All right, thank you, bud. Good luck.
Thank you.
Now, Marian Kremer's obviously, like he said, it's a bit second nature for a guy of his caliber. But for our viewers at home, if you want to see what it looks like from behind the wheel of a Pro Shifter kart, well, we got Hunter Pickett of Team GFC to be able to walk us through a lap of the session. So we'll be pulling that up for you guys to see, hopefully in time before we go green for Super Pole qualifying as they get set to go. They're already given the command to suit on up, as there's a look at PSL Karting Bureau Arts Mateus Morgado. He's already got his helmet on, so Alex will be maybe able to get a word with him really quickly. Alex, probably a one-question interview, I'd imagine.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Xander Mateus. One question here, buddy. You're quick. A lot of guys behind you are also quick. I mean, going to this qualifying session?
Definitely cannot be more confident than just making time right now. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, interesting one. Everyone's so close, so yeah, it'll be nice.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, there you go from Mateus Morgado. Now, again, here's a look at what a lap is like while they finally get ready to go for one of the most critical parts of a weekend in a Pro Shifter category, qualifying. Here's a lap with GFC Karting's Hunter Pickett.
All right, my name's Hunter Pickett, drive for GFC. Here's a lap of Orlando Kart Center. Going into turn one, hard on the brakes, downshifts. I'm trying to carefully get back on the throttle here, clip that curb, open up the corner a bit. Hard on the brakes and downshifts here. Getting back to throttle. Here you're just kind of dancing with it, not a lot of grip in this corner. Going through here, hitting some curbs. Easy on the brake, downshift once. Now we're just grabbing through the gears, this long straightaway. Hard on the brakes here, going down to first. Quickly grabbing second, grabbing some gears. Lightly downshifting, going over the curbs there. And then accelerating through the last corner.
And there it is, a lap here from Hunter Pickett. And it's funny, we got two of the calmest talking guys, Brandon Carr and Hunter Pickett. Very soft-spoken, both of them, but it is not an easy lap.
But that's what makes these the pro drivers. You saw it's the violence, the intensity. It's you're driving half the lap with one hand on the wheel because you're up and down the gears, and yet these guys and girls are as cool as a cucumber. Like Marian Kramer said, second nature. It's like, you know, me going to lunch, second nature, second helping rather. There's the big guy, Danny Formal, as we look. So let's have a look. You've got the order there. That's the order in which they will go out. The SKUSA officials are watching. Once again, you know, you have got Mateus Morgado for Birrell PSL. You have got the teammates for RPG. Marian Kramer's locked, focused, visualizing. The big guy, Danny Formal, relaxed because he was at Sebring earlier today. Then you have got the GFC drivers. There is the underdog, two of the underdogs, Charlie Steins. But you've got that. There's the GFC, Kyle Wick. Don't forget, he has got 2 laps fresher tyres than some of the other drivers. He's got 1 lap fresher tyres than virtually everybody else for the GFC team.
And, it looks like as we look through the lineup here, going back a little bit too far here. That was a weird merge. I was trying to see. You can look at the back of the grid. That was Vincenzo Saracino was suited up at the back of the grid on his Maranello. I think trying to make his case of some kind that he should have been in, or he's getting ready to go. So someone must have. AJ Myers is out.
AJ Myers is standing there, and the magic cart is being pushed away. See, of course, you have to go through the weighbridge, and you have to go through the weighbridge, and you're only allowed to change tire pressures. So, AJ Myers is out, and Vincenzo Saracino is in. Here we go, and we are now out on circuit. Morgado first. The drivers are being held to evenly space them out. There goes Carrara. There goes Billy Musgrave. Here comes Trefilov in the 13 kart. Next will be the 95 of Anthony Martella. And then behind Martella, you will have Charlie Steins.
Oh, whoa, big problem. Big problems for Danny Formal.
Danny Formal has crashed on Super Pole lap. He's getting back into his kart, and he will wait, he will wait, he will wait.
All right, so Danny Formal, we'll pull a replay of it here, but Danny Formal on the outlap here nosed it into the wall. Now, we're just getting ready to get the first lap underway here in qualifying for Pro Shifter. Down the front straightaway, Mateus Morgado, first lap in, 51.917. We'll pull that ticker up here in just a moment for you guys to see on the left-hand side of your screen, and they'll start to populate. Kyle Wick going third on the outlap. He did a very slow outlap. Morgado a push lap. Gulick a slow lap. Giorgio Carrara to second, but we're watching the Brazilian here as he goes through.
Billy Musgrave goes 7th. Again, you can see the drivers sacrificing their lap. Now, Formal, he has found a bit of clear track, but that off cost him 20 seconds. Charlie Steins to 8th. Here we go. It's Morgado, the man to beat. But Carrara, the driver, is second, is a long way back in the line. Coming out of the final corner, a 51.917 for Morgado. Here we go, we're going to stick with this shot. There goes Morgado. He improves.
50.75 for Kremers here across the line. Here comes Kyle Wick at the line. 50.95, not enough. Jay Irwin to third for Jay in the 20. Jacob Gulick trying to go, he'll go 5th. Giorgio Carrara with a good second lap. Here comes Billy Musgrave. Musgrave at the line, goes 7th. The big guy with damage potentially to second. Danny Formal at the line. Crashed on the outlap. We'll show you that in a moment. Trefilov can do no better than 10th. Charlie Steins 11th. And Marin Kremers pulls it out on the final lap over Mateus Morgado. But let's take a look here if we've got the replay of what happened to the big guy here on that one. We'll pull that for you so you can see what happened to the number 37, but obviously
it was at turn 5 is where it happened. It was at turn 5 on the outlap. Well, he took the start. Let's have a look while we try and get you the replay. But Kremers, so this for the first time, the driver that led the field did not sit on pole position. Norberg led them out in X30 Pro and got pole, and Morgado led them out in this class. He is only 6th. But what about the Inter MS kart? Giorgio Carrara, the Argentine driver, 2nd. So it's going to be eventually an all RPG front row, Inter MS, GFC on row 2, and all PSL Birrell Art row 3, and then you've got GFC, factory karts, you've got RPG again, and then you have Maranello and the rank outsider Factory Fury G part of Charlie Steins as the track falls quiet once again, and oh dearie me.
Lots to catch up after that one. Well, we pull the replay for you guys, and it'll be ready here in a few moments. Maybe not from Danny Formal, unfortunately. But we do have him in the pit scale line, and Marin Kremers as well as the rest of our top qualifiers. The number 1 plate. It's been a little while since he's been on American soil. Might as well have been yesterday. On top by a 1/10 of a second was Marin Kremers here in the RPG Cosmic. And 50.75 on lap 2. Good enough for pole in Pro Shifter Super Pole. Alex?
Marian, P1 there in Super Pole. Walk me through that lap and the emotions right now.
I'm happy to be on debut with the new team. Get pole is great. This new format is exciting, and apparently it suits me. So very happy to be starting off pole. it was difficult to get the one lap in, but we made it work, and yeah, just happy with the team.
All right, now shifting focus, right? You clearly have the pace on the 2 laps. Do you have the pace for the 17-minute pre-final later the afternoon?
I guess time will tell. I'm not sure. So far, we've been very quick in every session we've done, so I'm feeling confident, but we haven't had the long sessions yet, so we'll see.
All right, thank you, bud. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Danny.
There's Marin Kremers. Let's
Danny
go as
Formal.
Alex makes his way over here to the next man up. A good smile here from Danny Formal after that one, but definitely a bit of an odd way to end up on the front row. Alex?
Thanks, guys. Danny, you had a long day today. I mean, Sebring, back to here. You barely made it on time, but you're still pretty quick. I mean, how are you feeling after that Super Pole session?
Well, P2, not bad. Lost to my teammate. Glad he got it. If anyone's going to get it, glad he did. Yeah, I'm still kind of in the loss. What happened? I went to broke early, you know, at the end of the straight, and just locked both fronts and went to the wall. Luckily, the kart's fast enough that I got it to go, and on my actual only lap, I was able to go P2. So the go-kart's very quick. Super happy with the performance of the go-kart, the motor, everything. Rollison Performance Group is becoming a force to be reckoned with in KZ. So super excited for the pre-final and final tomorrow.
And what does it do for your confidence levels, right? Knowing that you could back it into the wall 1 lap in, you put a P2. I mean, heading to the pre-final, you must feel pretty good about it.
No, for sure, right? And like you said, it was a long day driving the big car in Sebring, coming back here. So the go-kart's it's a rocket ship. So now I just put it all together for the pre-final today and the final tomorrow.
All right, thank you, and good luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it from Danny Formal. I can tell you one guy who's probably smiling, though. It was only 12 thousandths off him. Has to be Giorgio Carrara. He just went through the line there. P3 for Giorgio, and he mentioned he's been probably the least active of the front-running contenders in an earlier chat with him this weekend. So there he is on the interim S, boys. He's going to push through the scale line, and then we'll get to talk to the Argentinian. Safely made it through to Super Pole, and probably the most impressive run, I would say. You know, he was kind of under the radar for a lot of last year, but he was good here if we go back to the Orlando rounds of the national championships in the U.S. Giorgio, P3, 12 thousandths off of Formal, only a 10th off of Marin Kremers. He'll get that card up onto the stand because it's a short turnaround for them to work, and then we'll get to chat with him. So here we go. Actually, he'll make some time for us right now. Alex?
Thanks, guys. Giorgio, I mean, you know, we've talked a lot about how you didn't really drive a lot since Supernats. You went to Homestead, and then you've had a lull until Orlando. I think you should do that more often because right now you're P3.
Yeah, I mean, we struggled a little bit this morning, also yesterday, to find grip. I mean, it was really difficult, but yeah. Now the Super Pole helps a lot, I have to say. So yeah, my lap was nearly perfect. I tried to maximize everything. So yeah, I'm quite happy. I can fight from P3. You know, it's quite a good spot here. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
And you mentioned the Super Bowl helps you heading into the pre-final. Much longer session than the Super Pole. Tire wear is going to be a problem, right? How do you attack it?
I will try to send it. I mean, the first lap will be good opportunity for me, you know, so I don't think I have the speed like them, you know, so I will try to go in the beginning, and then yeah, let's see. I mean, a long race for us will be not so good about the pace, you know, but I mean, let's see. I will do my best and see how it goes.
Thanks, Giorgio.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it from Giorgio Carrara on the Interim S Kart Republic. Pre-race festivities will get underway, and then we will begin to give you an update of where things will roll here from Orlando. Pro X30's pre-final will head your way here in just a little bit. In the meantime, we'll take a short commercial break, and then we will return with pre-final action for the pro categories at the SKUSA Pro Tour Pro Show.
Colin, I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77 tooth sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the Kart on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Car Class has done the hard work for you. We've travelled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Car Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit carclass.com to get your track information.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Behind the wheel, huh? Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive. Well, you're gonna need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern. They got shoes? Yep. Gloves? Yep. Rib protectors? Got those too. Can they make me go fast? No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
We're at a commercial break.
All right, so we are
4 here this weekend for the winner. You know, what's that like? I guess having all that money up on the line every single round here.
For sure, win money in the race is really good. It's really good for me, like a driver, and also for the team, because we split everything. I know get money in the races, put money in for the winners is really good for the sport, because if some money, then the championship give back to the team, right? And yeah, more interesting races when you have money to win. Yeah, really like it.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about the racing, right? A little bit of a different format this weekend, right, with the entire pro show going on and different qualifying as well. How important is it to be like absolutely on it every single session, right? Because there's almost no room for mistakes here, right?
Yeah, for sure. Short time now, no warm-ups, just Qualy, Pre Final, and Final. But I really like the new format, because now we have time to coach the young drivers in the morning, and yeah, we'll be interested to watch. Yeah, I really like the new schedule.
Yeah, and I mean, lastly here, right, and you were talking about development, right, with the younger drivers. I mean, what does that mean to you, you know, being able to develop those younger drivers to get them up here, you know, one day racing alongside you?
Yeah, it's better for the team, you know, like the whole team, also the young drivers, because when we race in the morning, we didn't have like a lot of time to talk with the young drivers, see every session, you know, and right now with this big gap, I think we can do better job.
Sounds good. Well, best luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we've got podium ceremonies about to get underway. We're going to kick things off with Nash Motorsports KA100 Junior. First up, KA100 Junior, third place, Ty Fisher. All right, and ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your KA100 Senior podium. Next up will be Micro Swift, presented by J&M Racing. We'll let the K100 Seniors head on down. Micro Swift presented by J&M Racing here. The youngest superstars going to make their way up to the podium. That's your K Senior podium. First up, third place in Micro Swift, Santiago Orioli. Second place in Micro Swift, Marina Brandau. And your main event winner in Micro Swift, Zane Burgess. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your Micro Swift podium. All right, next up will be X30 Junior, presented by Rollison Performance Group on our list. So we'll let the micros here make their way up and off the podium. One quick more picture, guys. We got to keep on going. Micro Swift next up. If you can hear the podium ceremonies, X30 Pros, you are up next here as soon as podiums are clear. All right, that'll do it now for the Micro Swift podium. Boys and girls, make your way on down off the top steps. X30 Junior, presented by Rollison Performance Group. Third place, Sarah Bradley. Second place in RPG X30 Junior, Victor De Alencar. And your main event winner in RPG X30 Junior, Diego Ardiles. Trophies up nice and high, boys and girls. Raise them up. Give it up for your X30 Junior podium. All right, next up, we will go into our Masters classes here as X30 Junior wraps up off the podium nice and quick, boys and girls. First up, we'll do KA Master. Third place in KA Master, Alfonso Santiago. Second place in KA Master, Jacob Neary. And your main event winner in KA Master, Charlie Fonseca. And there it is, your main event podium for KA Masters. All right, now as the KA Master podium wraps up, we'll get set to go to Master Shifter. All right, KA Masters, thank you very, very much. And Master Shifter next up here, third place in Master Shifter, the number 629 LFP Racing of Luis Quinones. Second place in Master Shifter, Juan Pablo Rico. And your main event winner in Master Shifter, Skitchy Barnes. Give it up for your Shifter Master podium. All right, final class here for podiums. Then Pro X30 is going on the grid, and then Pro Shifter right after. Mini Swift presented by Trinity Karting Group, Kart Republic. Third place, Alessandro Truccio. Second place in TKG Mini Swift, Royce Vega. And your main event winner here, first time on the SKUSA Pro Tour for Lorenzo Varela. And that does it, folks, for podiums. X30 Pros can begin making their way onto the grid. We're going right into pre-final action when we return here live on Kart Chaser for the Pro Show.
Back for another year of the SKUSA Pro Tour. This time, different format. We got the Pro Show format. First and foremost, I mean, what are your thoughts on it, and how do you think the racing's going to unfold?
I mean, it is what it is. I think it's the same for everybody. I was kind of a proponent for no practice yesterday, no practice today. Get your 30 minutes in later today and go. Put your best on and see what's up. It's the same for everybody. We just go into it, see what happens.
You were at the Norberg Invitational last week, right? A lot of money on the line on that one. Didn't come away with any cash, but speaking of cash, over $250,000 on the line here throughout the championship for the SKUSA Pro Tour. Does that change your mindset at all? Does that motivate you more, or where's your head after with the money on the line?
Money doesn't change anything. It might make some of these younger kids drive a little more stupid. I saw that one last week, but no, same old, same old. Want to win the race regardless of the money.
Now, speaking of practice, right? You've had some sessions yesterday, today. Happy hour coming up. Where do you think your kart stands right now as the weekend's unfolding?
Well, we're struggling pretty hard right now. I mean, I was P9 the last session. That's just pretty far back for me, and I don't know what it is. I got a little traffic, but just missing that pace from all unused tires, able to just go out there and just right away. And I'm just feel like I'm on ice skates, so got some work to do.
Obviously, a different format, right? Used tires are going to be important to be able to manage. Is that something that you guys have been struggling with, or do you think you can kind of turn that around a little bit?
Well, what I'm lacking for in one lap pace, I at least did the same lap 3 times in a row. So I got the pace, hopefully. Once qualifying settles, just got to get a lap in.
All right, thank you, bud.
Thank you.
That he had an exclusion after Q1 because there was only 1 bolt on his lead weight, and it has to have 2 bolts on it. Now, the grid is about to form under the evening sun here in Orlando for the first of our 2 Pro Show pre-finals. We live stream the podiums, and thanks to Xander Clements for doing that. And now we will start bringing you the drivers. There is Diego Ramos, winner of last weekend's Norberg Invitational, and a cool $10,000. The Brazilian driver for PSL Karting moves on to the grid. There is Brian Garcia, the Ryan Perry Motorsport driver from Pembroke, not Pembroke in Wales, but Pembroke in the United States. As we look, the karts now filtering on to the grid. 27 drivers. There is Lucas Nanji for the HM Propellant team. And now Turbo Kacper Torobojski for the Energy Kart USA team, the Polish driver. Outside front row starter, Dalton Haynes for the Sodi team. And that's not Maxim Haratanian, that is Mr. Haratanian Sr. And there goes, that is Ming Zhan Zhu, the Chinese driver, and that would be Dalton Haynes' brother Roman doing the mechanicking job for him. The 29 kart is Donovan Bonilla for the Rollerson Performance Group, and here is the only LFB racing driver in the Pro Show. That was Pablo Benitez, the number 16 driver, rookie driver in the Pro Show, Christian Garduno from Mexico. And here is the only Velocity Racing Praga kart. Once again, big happy birthday to Praga's Daniel Sleever. Branson Gaudet will be the pilot of that machine. The number 13 kart is Hayden Jones for RPG. There goes another couple of drivers through the shot. The 71 kart, that will be the Wizard of Oz, Gabe Balanca. And there is ADT, Alessandro De Tullio, for the Inter MS team in kart number 20. Nick Terlecki, the Hutz driver development driver. And there is the 22 kart of Josh Hutz. And a big wave from the always happy Santiago Fernandez, the American driver for Chad Dokken Racing, rather. Matisse Constantini is the number 72. Here is Austin Garrison, and a big, I think it's Adam Kretschmer, who has, from Speed Concept Racing, who has recently become a father. congratulations to Adam and Paulie Massimino, whose kart is there, was just walking with the other driver there with Austin Garrison. Now, a look back. There is the Steel City Saint, Brandon Carr from Sheffield, England, as he is the 26 Trinity Kart Group driver. Then we have the next driver. That is Nash Motorsports' Emma Scarborough going through. There is the Sodi Kart of Harley Keeble and our pole man, El Presidente of Norberg Nation, Ryan Norberg, who will lead the field to the pole as we now begin to assemble our first ever Pro Show pre-final grid in Pro X30 as 27 drivers, 15 different teams, 9 different chassis manufacturers, and 10 nations represented. Now we wait. The drivers will get themselves settled. The drivers will put their helmets, their gloves,
and it's as quick as they can get them
on
here. So this is a little bit of an audible, again, the way the day went. Unfortunate for Mario Barrios, the major red flag,
Yes.
a little bit of other delays earlier on in the day before the Pro Show began, put this a little bit behind the 8 ball to start. So that's what's got them in a bit of a hurry up to run through. And Ryan Norberg, of course, will lead us to green. That's the biggest gap of most of the classes through qualifying here, a 1.5 over Dalton Haynes and everybody else here on the one-lap pace. But this is the longest run they'll have done all weekend, 2 times over here with this pre-final. This will be the length of the mini and the micro mains, and then an even longer main tomorrow after the warm-up session. So for the Orlando native, he's got plenty of laps and long runs and short runs around here. He's ready to go, but this is going to be a lot different than what all of these guys have been practicing for to this point. So the number 2 plate, starting number 1, ready to make it a number 1 plate here in 2024 once again with Dalton Haynes on the outside, and then 2 drivers, former teammates from this time last year, Diego Ramos and ADT on row number 2, Henry.
Yes, indeed, as you can see, RPG, Sodi Kart, PSL, Inter MS, the front 2 rows of the grid. All the major players have timed it right and will start the pre-final.
And they'll be starting here in about 1.5 minutes, if our clock is correct. I believe, again, just as soon as the semi-pro podiums were completed, they filled the grid up. And now they are ready to go. So a quick run over here, but just about to the 1 minute call. You can see most into their carts. Paulie Massimino, top of the screen there, still getting his gloves on. Gone through qualifying. We've gone through Super Pole, and it looks like maybe some issues here.
Oh, yeah.
For the number 2 of Ryan Norberg, last second.
Juan Zarate.
Made some air on the grid. They must have checked and have found a loose bead lock on the left front tire, so they're going to try and quickly pressure him up and get those pressures back down for the pole man. Talk about rattling you right before you head on out onto the racetrack.
Yeah, Juan Zarate there, the Colombian driver, the Colombian mechanic, spotting that. And, of course, everyone else will be looking keenly on, thinking, how many mechanics do we know to have? What do we know to do on the grid? But certainly there is no, and they're checking the other beads as well. And Ryan Norberg, he can do nothing apart from watch and wonder. And then it will take him probably about 8 seconds before he gets to turn right to go out of pit lane for him to realize, are we okay or not? Now, obviously, they didn't touch anything else on the kart. It was just the beads. And
air pressure is allowed on grid, which is the one thing they are allowed to do, and then, hand touching the bead lock, so they're good there. Engine should fire any moment now here, folks. There's Dalton Haynes locking in with a career-best qualifying effort going all the way back through his limited SKUSA Pro Tour and USPKS starts. The only thing matched was his home track qualifying effort at the IAMA USA Grand National Championship on debut, putting it on the pole. So A great quality effort here for him and the SOTY Racing USA boys to put it on the outside of the front row here on that quick 2-lap green-white checker Super Pole. And then again, Diego Ramos, you talk about one heck of a payday here this week. 10 grand at the Norberg Invitational, maybe another 5 grand in the pocket if he can pull off a race win here in Orlando. This place has been good to him. 2 weekends he's spent here, 2 weekends he's won for the Brazilian. Behind Dalton Haynes there is Alessandro Di Tullio. 2 wins in his career, both coming at his home racetrack at AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex, and a plethora of podiums. In 2023, he was our most consistent driver, the best average finish without a win on the season, only beaten by a handful of the superstars on the calendar. And then, of course, Harley Keeble. This place has typically treated him nice. And for a moment last weekend, we thought that it was going to continue, but it seems to rob him just as much as he has a good finish. Last year at the SKUSA Pro Tour, 3rd on the racetrack, then underweight in the scales. The next day, put it back on the podium again, and it let him, and he was able to keep it. Now, how about this run? Nick Terlecki, probably biggest surprise out of Super Pole here, Henry. P5, very impressive.
Yeah, the Hertz driver development team leader on the Gillard chassis, part of the OTK family, and I like the Iridium visor with the graphics on it. Of course, we are running a little bit behind, and those Iridium visors, they're great in the middle of the day, but when the sun begins to set, they don't offer the best visibility. Now, there is Donovan Bonilla, the Mexican driver, breakout star, Supernats winner last year, and he is there on the 4th row of the grid, and all 4th row for the RPG grid. Now, out onto the rolling lap they go. This is the first pro show race. Andrew Clements, give us the grid.
Here is the rest of the lineup. Again, we talked about all the way through the 3rd row, so we'll start back at the 4th. Bonilla on the inside, on the outside of him, Hayden Jones, who has the least amount of seat time out of anyone in the top 10 here in 2024. His first start of the Pro National season puts him 8th on the grid. Austin Garrison and Paulie Massimino, a couple of veterans here, and the lone entrants for their teams in the Pro Division. Speed Concepts Racing with Garrison, BJR and MDR for Paulie Massimino. Christian Garduno and Emma Scarborough make up row 6, and then you have the first drivers on the outside. Remember Brandon Carr? He was right there with Terlecki in the first stage of qualifying, and the difference of had he made it through versus not making it in going to Super Pole, he's looking at Nick Terlecki's 5th place starting spot and saying, I should be there, but I'm all the way back in 13th. So it's a long pre-final, luckily, a lot of time to go forward for himself, and as well the Energy Corsa America's entry of Kapker Turaboyski. Then it's Nanji, Fernandez, Lyle, Matisse Constantini, Gabe Blanca, one of the Aussies here this weekend, along with Lyle, and then Josh Holtz out to end off your top 20.
The remaining drivers for the first Pro Show pre-finals are just flicking across your screens now. 27 of them in total, 18 grueling, stomach churning, curb hopping, intense laps of the Orlando Kart Center are about to begin. The sun is setting, but a new era is dawning. Xander Clements, bring him to the line.
The pre-final for Pro X30. Ryan Norberg on the inside in the purple and pink. Dalton Haynes on the outside in the black and orange SOTY. Norberg has been undefeated so far this week. Can he keep it in the pre-final as we get underway down to turn number 1? Haynes way deep on the outside, a little too deep, and Di Tullio gets to 2nd. Ramos is going to fall back to 4th. Garrison wide, another one wide, and Di Tullio to the lead on a turn number 5. He puts the bumper to Norberg and gets through for that top spot here right off the bat.
And of course, you can forgive Ryan Norberg for being a little bit tentative. That last-minute drama on the dummy grid with the beads. You know, he wanted to make sure that is everything okay, and Di Tullio capitalized. Haynes, who thought about going around the outside at turn number 1 and went a little bit too far around the outside, slotted to 3rd. Then it is Ramos, Keeble, Terlecki, and the rest. It's a good, clean opening half a lap for the Pro Show. Oh no! Santiago Fernandez with a mechanical issue, and the Chad Docken Racing driver from Miami out of the race.
Now across the line here, the top three. DeTullio already going to start to low line. Norberg going to give him the bumper into turn number 1. Moves him up the racetrack. He'll take the lead back away here. 1 lap complete as we'll pull the leaderboard onto the left-hand side of your screen. And DeTullio right back to him, moving him out of the way as well. Norberg going to leave the door open, now open up as he's finally got a gap there out of turn number 6.
They're just massaging the rear bumper of each other's go-karts here in the opening lap. And Haynes, Ramos, and Keeble all in line. Keeble takes a wide line through turn number 9. He's going to get a good run up Scrapyard Straight. Can he make the move on Diego Ramos? Yes, he can. And in front of him, Haynes back to P2. Norberg trying to break away. Haynes is going to start hunting the president of Norberg Nation down.
Well, the big thing that I think is going to be the biggest adjustment for all of these drivers in this 18-lap pre-final is the track cooled off tremendously. So as they work their way through turns 3 and 4 over to turn number 5, the temperature cooling from karts not driving on it for the 30-minute work period that they were allotted is the biggest equalizer, it feels like, because while Norberg again leads the way, they all were tiptoeing. We saw this back at the Super Nationals after driver intros. Even just a 10-minute break there was massive. But here, the sun setting, the track cooling, how much air did you pump back in, and are you ready to drive on a completely different racetrack than what you just qualified on?
Well, I mean, you can look at the field. The field is still very tightly packed together. There's the move from number 13, Hayden Jones. He picks up a place passing, and it's Talecki, Paulie Massimino, Austin Garrison, and Brandon Carr rounding out the top 10 at the back of the field. Lucas Nanji and Matisse Constantini have joined Santiago Fernandez on the early retirement list as Haynes holds off DeTullio through turns 1, 2, and 3, and DeTullio now to the inside, back into P2 for ADT, and Haynes just gives a little nudge up the short chute towards turn 6, running lap 4 out of 18.
Both of them agreed there to work together. They're trying to figure out who's quicker to hang on to Ryan Norberg's coattails right now. Let's see what ADT has in store. When he was here against Norberg back both years, he's been fast and almost there. Probably the next best guy off of the RPG camp here at Orlando Kart Center. At least that was the case 2 years ago when the U.S. Pro Kart Series came here. Then last year, a number of different contenders, but a lot absent as Morgado moved over to the Pro Shifter category. Joe Turney's returned over in Europe this weekend. Won't see him stateside till Houston for the U.S. Pro Kart Series. But ADT, strong here at this racetrack. Fast lap last time by 2/10 over Norberg.
And he is bringing the 2 Sony Kart teammates and Diego Ramos with him. And in 6th position, Nick Terlecki, the Hertz Driver Development entry, is trying to hold on. The rest of the field now being led by Hayden Jones in 7th, Brandon Carr 8th, Austin Garrison 9th, and Paulie Massimino in 10th are beginning to fall away.
There's one thing I want to point out. Again, I mentioned on the grid, Nick Terlecki qualified 5th in Super Pole, and that was because he got in and Brandon Carr did not. Well, as Keeble follows Diego Ramos right there, Terlecki now has fallen backwards. Brandon Carr has worked his way forwards. The only driver in between them is Hayden Jones. If Brandon Carr gets up to Nick Terlecki, I'm sure he'll be ready and very happy to put that number 88 back behind him here as we put 5 laps in the books.
But there are 2 seconds of air between Terlecki and Carr, and that is more damaging than just a one car. Brandon Carr has been driving the wheels off that thing to get up to the start. Now, Turaboyski, the pole, is in 20th, Boutillier 19th, Lepard 18th, Garcia 17th, Hertz is 16th, the Wizard of Oz is 15th, and Super Cooper Lyle 14th. The 2 Aussies rounding out the top 15 here in the Pro Show.
Down the back straightaway we go. Norberg, DeTullio, Haynes, Ramos, Keeble, the top 5 as Hayden Jones continues to track them down. Dalton Haynes with the fast lap of the race last time by. Both he and DeTullio closing to Norberg, but this bubble about a car length away is what's keeping them from being able to get around the number 2 plate. Let's see what the laps are like this time. DeTullio, big run to turn 1. If he can roll the speed through this corner, he might be able to send it on him in turn 5. No, I don't know. He's still probably not close enough. No, not into turn 5 this time, but Norberg has company.
Well, the top 8 drivers have all just set their best lap of the race. DeTulio was the fastest of all. It's a new fastest lap for DeTulio, 53.935. This is where the tyres and the engines are absolutely singing now for the drivers. They've got the grip back. The cool air is allowing the engine to breathe a little bit more. And Haynes is closing in. Haynes is on a quick lap this time around. Ramos and Keeble falling away ever so slightly. And you know what? Then there's a gap to Telecki, Jones, Carr, Massimino and Garrison. Bono, Donovan Bonilla is in 11th. Then it's Scarborough, Garduno, Lyle, Balanca, Hertz, Lepard, Garcia, Boutillier and Turaboyski. That's your top 20. And DeTulio sets off after Norberg. Is the next move coming? Yes, it is. Is it going to work? Yes, it does. Has DeTulio taken the lead? Yes, he has.
And he blocks low in turn 6 to back him up and help bring the rest of the pack to him. Here comes Dalton Haynes in the number 56 machine. Harley Keeble and Ramos lurking on as Norberg sends it back on DeTulio in turn number 9. Haynes going to push DeTulio down the backstretch as they team up on the fastest man all weekend. He's trying to block low and gets it just in front of Diego Ramos.
Let's not forget Dalton Haynes is mechanicking for himself this weekend. He's not got anybody there giving him signals. He has been doing it also. And we spoke to him last night. He goes, you know what? Keeble's been helping me lots. His buddy and teammate Harley Keeble. Well, but somehow between the two of the Muppets, they managed to get those two karts really well set up.
Well, that's the other benefit of the Pro Show here. At the end of the day, the entire Sodi team is behind their X30 driver, so he does have help now. Harley Keeble, the inside of Norberg, he'll take over third. Diego Ramos still back in that fifth spot, following both of them as Keeble over under him. But all these drivers now, they've got the full support of their teams at this point in the day. The fence is lined for the Pro X30 Pre Final, and Dalton Haynes continuing to try and hang on to Alessandro DeTulio now down the backstretches behind. 4-6, Hayden Jones has worked his way around Nick Terlecki. Brandon Carr and Paulie Massimino are the next two on the way.
Unfortunately, Maxim Haratanian in the third Sodi USA kart has retired, and so has the only Velocity Racing Praga of Branson Gaudet. Down to 22 runners, and Ming Dan Zhu from China is in 22nd position. Then Benitez 21st. We went through the top 20 a little bit early. You could see it on the ticker, and Dalton Haynes from Mooresville, North Carolina is closing in on DeTulio. Keeble is third. Early race leader Norberg down to fourth, and Ramos lurking in the shadows, which are lengthening here in Orlando, rounding out your top 5. And I tell you who else is joining the party. Hayden Jones in 6th position, who has gone past Terlecki. Now Brandon Carr gets a run at Terlecki, and we're still only on lap 10 out of 18, plenty of time left.
Yeah, lots of time left in this one as they're all just stabilizing here. Norberg kind of closing back to Harley Keeble just a little bit right now. But like you said, Hayden Jones on an absolute tear in the number 13. Really consistent run through the grid to get to this point, and that's the benefit of this longer pre-final versus shorter heats where the racing seems to be a little more antsy, a little more frantic, and typically a lot more carnage. This longer pre-final, the longer main, gives these guys a lot more time to just slowly work their way up the grid, and the field will sift itself out to where they roughly should be. A good start helps, a good quality position helps, but it's not the end of the world. Now, right now, it's a little bit harder for a guy like Hayden Jones or Brandon Carr to get all the way to the lead because they've been playing pretty nice at the front, just a couple passes here and there, and besides that, they've been riding in line.
Well, cast your minds back to the start of Super Pole when our pit reporters interviewed Paulie Massimino, and Paulie said, well, we're not very quick. We're quick enough to be in 9th position, just behind Brandon Carr, and on lap 12, the top 10 are separated by 5 seconds. It's not spreading out, Xander, it's getting closer, although DeTulio has finally established a bit of breathing space, and by a bit, I mean 3 kart lengths.
Yeah,
a massive gap.
Just a bit, right? Last time by, he put about another 600ths on Dalton Haynes to open the margin to 4/10. That's the biggest lead we've really seen since the start of this race here. So for Ryan Norberg and Harley Keeble behind Dalton Haynes, they got to be very careful of if they can get around him, how they get around him. Further back as well, more moves being made. That was Brandon Carr. He has gotten around Nick Terlecki. Took him a little while to get there, but he should be in good shape here for the main event tomorrow afternoon.
And I have to say that was at turn number 9, and it did look as though Brandon Carr had just sent one up the inside and then ran very wide of the exit just to make sure that Mr. Tulecki had to back out ever so slightly. Now, Haynes, last time around, 54-0 for Haynes, a 54-1 for the Tulio. We're only talking about a tenth of a second, but this is the pro show, and a tenth of a second could be the difference between $10,000 at the end of the season and nothing.
Yeah, it could be a massive, massive difference here. Again, it's still a pretty big jump from the champ down to second in the championship, but as they head through turns 7, 8, and 9, you can see a drastically different line for Ryan Norberg, a lot more narrow than Harley Keeble and Dalton Haynes in that sector as he checks back the gap to Diego Ramos, who set his personal best last time by. Maybe a little bit late for Ramos on the PSL Karting Bureau Art to catch these guys. And the next group as well, they may start to fight towards the end between Carr, Massimino, Terlecki, and company with 5 laps to go.
And I've got to say, you think of this, Kart Republic Inter MS, 2 Sodi karts for Sodi USA, the Cosmic OTK of Ryan Norberg's RPG entry, and the Birrell kart. This is great. We have got, all the talk is over, and when the metal hits the road, every major player is on their A game and showing us why. 5 for the win in the pre-final, 4 laps to go. What can Haynes and his teammate Keeble do about ADT for Inter MS up in P1 of the LEAD?
Yeah, big time lead here again for ADT, the way he's been able to hold it and stay consistent at a 54 flat. Haynes has been a little bit less consistent, sometimes a little faster, sometimes slower. DeTulio did have that one bad lap last time. Besides that, that's been it. Haynes looking back, sees Keeble, that gap opened up. In fact, that was his worst lap in a while, and I think the kart might be starting to fade for the 56 here with 4 laps to go. We'll see if I think he's looking to see if he can let Keeble go, and there he can. So he'll let Harley get a shot over at DeTulio and try and hold off Ryan Norberg with a very aggressive defending move there in turn 6.
Yeah, Keeble has just gone quicker than DeTulio, so Keeble needed to get past, and Haynes letting him go, just being the sport saying, okay, do you know what? My chance for victory might have gone, but your chance, just thinking, go get him, partner. And now Norberg, and again, really good driving from Dalton Haynes. Yes, he defended the initial move, but then he didn't start blocking. He's like, okay, I'm going to work with, and I'm going to maybe follow Norberg and stay ahead of Ramos. He's thinking, if I just back them up, I could lose 3 or 4 places, and it could get messy, but I want to be in a decent position for the final. So I'm going to, I'm hoping that Norberg can tow me around and I can at least salvage 4.
Look at the left front tire on Ryan Norberg's machine here. That number 2 car has a lot of hike in the right-handers. I think they weren't fully able to clear the problem. I think he still has a tire slowly leaking, and during the course of this pre-final, he has slowly looked worse and worse. Look how much it's leaning down on that left front tire.
Look at the sidewalls, Andy.
Right
Look at the sidewall. Look at the sidewall as he comes onto the straight there. When he's turning right, then I think the sidewall, look at the lap time. Well, he's done 54.4. That's the slowest of the top 5 by some margin. He's checking over his shoulder, and you can see the fact that Keeble is gone. Keeble and DeTulio are gone. It's going to be between ADT and Harley Keeble for the win. And, we're trying to get good camera work there for the Kart Chase crew.
Yeah, so I think Norberg's definitely got a leaking left front tire. With 2 to go, though, nothing changing up front. DeTulio and Keeble, a couple of young guns turned veterans leading the way as Norberg takes us down to turn number 5.
That car is jacked.
Oh, yeah, and Ramos getting by Dalton Haynes. That's for the 4th spot. So battle for 4th opening up. Hayden Jones trying to get there on the number 13. But Ryan Norberg, he said in his interview earlier, the one thing about this format, there is no room for error. Well, right now, he is doing everything he can to salvage a good starting spot for the main. He's losing championship points right now in this pre-final, but at least he can maybe hang on for another lap as the battling continues further back. That's Carr versus Donovan Bonilla, top of the screen. Haynes has gone all the way back from the lead for a moment to behind Ramos and under pressure from Jones here at the white flag. 1 to go for Alessandro DeTulio.
It's DeTulio, Keeble, a hobbled Norberg, then Ramos, Haynes and Hayden Jones. Paulie Massimino is up into 7th at a Carr Bonilla and Tulecki, who has faded to 10th. Now, can Ryan Norberg get round this last lap with air slowly seeping out of his left front tyre. But Alessandro Di Tullio, I don't think he's going to be caught. Haynes on Ramos over the curb. What can Dalton Haynes do about Diego Ramos? He's got one, maybe two opportunities. Here's the leader, though, into the tightest corner in North American karting Tournament 10. And now Norberg's really understeering. He's got 3 corners to hold on.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to see much here on this final lap, Henry. I think Haynes is happy in 5th on the inside lane. This guy's going to be super happy. ADT wins the pre-final in Pro X30 to Keeble, Norberg, Ramos, Dalton Haynes 5th, Jones 6th, Massimino in 7th, Brandon Carr 8th over Bonilla and Terlecki. Austin Garrison cracked the top 10, faded all the way down to the 12th position by the end of it, behind Emma Scarborough. Then it was Gabe Belanca who picked up 6 spots there. The Aussie moves himself up to 13th at the end. Christian Garduno 14th. Josh Holtz and Henry Lepard picked up a handful, and only a couple of minor mid-pack to further back drivers got involved in incidents in that one. Everything really clean at the front of the field, nothing too crazy. And overall, probably a pretty good look at what we should expect tomorrow, besides potentially Ryan Norberg. I'm sure that was a wounded drive and a very impressive one out of the 8-time champ.
You know, they've got 3 rounds, no dropped scores. Every single race counts. You said it. You cannot afford any errors, and even the slightest error, like not tightening a bead in the tire or not checking that it was still as tight, you know, could cost you big.
Well, here is the RPG Cosmics that'll make up the front row. Marin Kremers and Danny Formal flip the order from Friday. Happy hour in Super Pole and are ready to lead off a stacked pro shifter field, arguably the strongest one that the Winter Nationals has seen in about probably 7 or 8 years, going back to the S1 Honda days, even probably predating when the Pro Tour expanded to the Winter Nationals and made the Las Vegas Supernats a one-off. This is about as good as it gets for all of the American heavy hitters here in pro shifter karting, and that's what's going to fill that fence lineup one more time on the catwalk to watch here as the final few drivers get cleared off. Here's a look at the starting lineup for what you got coming your way in Pro Shifter. Again, Rollison Performance Group has to be happy with that one. Probably felt like they let one slip away with Ryan Norberg. I bet during that pre-final, they were double-checking and triple-checking everything for Kremers and Formal. But then you go to row 2, Giorgio Carrara's got the bar set pretty high by his lone teammate in ADT. Rolls off 3rd alongside Kyle Wick.
On row number 3, the youngest driver in the field, 15-year-old Kiwi Jay Irwin, alongside former world karting champion Mateus Morgato, Jacob Gulick, teammate Kyle Wick, and the All-America-made factory car of Billy Musgrave on row 4.
Anthony Martella was the surprise, one of 2 surprise stars that transferred into Super Pole and bumped some big names out. He rolls off 9th ahead of the SRP factory Maranello driver David Trefilov. And then on row 6, another impressive run from a young driver in Charlie Steins on the Factory Fury GP kart to qualify 11th. He starts alongside Vincenzo Saracino.
Talon Yockel is the lead Magic Kart driver alongside David Greco on row number 7. Michael Riccio and Cooper Beckman are next. AJ Myers, only 1 bolt holding his lead on in qualifying, starts 17th with Daniel Fellows on row number 9.
Keep your eye on Hunter Pickett, who was quicker earlier in the weekend but struggled in the Stage 1 qualifying. Rolls all the way back in 19th position alongside Justin White's Kartworks USA Maranello machine. And then back here to the final few rows of the grid, you have Gavin Bailiff and Joseph Lonnie, Eli Fox, Jared Ramnarayan, Philip Nimkovich, and then Ethan Boer make up the 26 driver pro shifter field as we get set to get our final session of the day underway.
Yes, so this will of course be a standing start for the pro shifters. We've seen the standing start in master shifter, but there ain't nothing like a full packed grid of pro shifters to get the blood flowing, and they're warming those tires. And Danny Formal getting a little bit close to the rear bumper. He's only made one mistake today as the big guy. He's going to make another one, oh my word. And we're jumping out of our seats and thinking how close they're getting. but these are the pro drivers. They know how close they're getting. It doesn't faze them one little bit. Carrara, and then the GFC, the lead GFC of Kyle Wick. What can the youngest driver in the field, Jay Irwin, do? When we spoke to Marin Kremers on Grid Talk last night, we said, okay, give us one driver, not one of your teammates, who could be a breakout star. Anyway, Jay Irwin, without even thinking about it. And Irwin out qualifying his teammates on the third row of the grid. Zyder Clements, here we go.
This is it. The most impressive performance by Rollison Performance Group since they have really broken into the pro shifter category. I talked with Mike Rollison at the beginning of the week. He said, well, we're going to run the numbers on Monday and see if it's worth it to continue. I'd say it's a good start. Let's see. Marin Kremers, Danny Formal for the pre-final. Oh, big contact further back. Cooper Beckland's involved. Vincenzo Saraceno, Joseph Lonnie. More drivers on the outside lane all collected as Giorgio Carrara is taking the fight to Kremers while Danny Formal leads us to turn 6.
Yeah, you could see the Maranello driver had his hands in the air and was waving, and there's Joseph Lonnie.
No, not Lonnie. My mistake. That is the number 33 of Daniel Fellows. My apologies.
No, it's fine. I mean, it happened so quickly. There was an RPG cart as well that got caught up in that. Oh, and a little bit of barging going on there. That's number 3 cart, Jacob Gulick, trying to make up ground. But the big guy has a big lead as Billy Musgrave defends. And there is the number 11 of Vincenzo Saraceno, banging wheels, sparks flying as he head on to turn 10.
Giorgio Carrara got roughed up as well when we went further back for the 3rd spot. Mateus Morgado cost himself a little bit of time to get through, but he got through on Carrara. Look at AJ Myers, started way back. He's now around Martella and move AJ Myers into the 9th position or 10th position as Carrara sends it back on Morgado. Kyle Wick following through as they battle for 3rd and 4th.
And that is giving Formal and Kremers the biggest invitation they've had all day to just clear off, if possible. But there's a long way to go in this 18-lap race.
Yeah, 18 laps on the boards here for Pro Shifter as they head down the backstretch. Kremers closing in on Danny Morgado, keeping it close there to Kyle Wick as he had a thought about going to the inside of him. What a start for Vincenzo Saraceno to be able to launch out of that craziness. He's just behind Jacob Gulick, who runs back in the 7th position. And how about the run so far for Jay Irwin in the number 20, back in the 6th spot. He is having a solid performance right now. Gulick just behind him there on the number 3 plate GFC. And then it spreads back to AJ Myers.
Billy Musgrave, the All-American, is out of the race. He joins Daniel Fellows on the retirements list. Such a shame for the only chassis builder, team owner and driver in the Pro Show.
Yeah, Billy Musgrave's a busy guy. I wouldn't be surprised there if something just broke of him focusing on everyone else around him to try and give them a good shot to go. But here's your top 2. Rollison Performance Group, 1st and 2nd right now on those Vortex-powered Cosmic KZ packages. Then you go back to the Miami Kart Republic-powered machine of Giorgio Carrara. Miami Power for Kyle Wick on the GFC. And then TM for Mateus Morgado and Jay Irwin in 5th and 6th. So you have the 3 major engine builders in pairs of 2, although Morgado is really bringing the fight to Kyle Wick right now.
Now, how many times have we seen in the SKUSA Pro Series or in any national level racing in the last couple of years, Formal versus Kremers when they were on different sides of the pits? Now they're in the same awning. Is the same intensity going to happen as Kremers catches the race leader?
Here's the other thing, too. Marin Kremers is not confirmed for the full Pro Tour like Danny Formal. He is a specialist extra add-on they brought in for this weekend. He's been fighting his way to get here because he does have the full Pro Tour Pro entry and tires. But that argument to be brought back for Cincinnati and Newcastle is a whole lot better if he wins the weekend. If he runs 2nd to Formal, as much as those 2 are good buddies off the racetrack, well, he did it just a few months ago in Las Vegas. Now he's trying to get around him potentially to at least secure a ride for the rest of the season.
Well, if he wins the final tomorrow, he can pay for his own entry with the prize money on offer. Let's have a look at this, though. Formal seems to have eased away ever so slightly on this lap. Again, the top 4 drivers all setting their personal best lap. In fact, Giorgio Carrara, 50.96. That is a 10th quicker than the 2 leaders. Here comes AJ Myers passing the 71 kart of Vincenzo Saracino, and that is Myers passing the driver who replaced him in Super Pole.
Yeah, AJ, well, didn't get onto the racetrack. They had actually a miscommunication. So only 11 ran after Myers was booted from Super Pole. Saracino just didn't understand the merge, that he was in his group, not against everyone together for the top 12 to go. It's 6 in your group. But either way, AJ Myers now doing quick work to rebound and get his way in. And again, he doesn't have that heat cycle from Super Pole. That'll all even back out by the time they go to new tires for tomorrow's final. But for now, AJ using maybe that one less heat cycle to his advantage to drive through this field and work his way closer and closer to the top 5 and a good starting spot for the main event come Sunday afternoon.
And if you're thinking back home, one heat cycle, it was only like 2 flying laps. That's not going to make a difference. Oh, it does at this level of karting.
Here's Giorgio Carrara we were watching there. He's still 3rd after fending off Mateus Morgado for multiple laps. Was finally able to break away, but Morgado did get around Kyle Wick while we worked our way further back in the field. I'm not sure if we were able to get an angle on it or not, but regardless, Mateus Morgado has split up the 2 Miami-powered machines, moves himself back to that 2nd row, moves himself up a net of 2 from 6th for Mateus Morgado to 4th here. Kyle Wick back 1 spot net here. Jay Irwin overall down 1 from his 5th place qualifying effort here, and a very impressive one at that for the number 20.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and you think Irwin, well, he's lost a bit of ground. Well, he's lost 1 place to where he started. But don't forget, he's just 15, and there's a difference between putting together, you know, a blisteringly quick lap in Super Pole to then running at the same pace against this caliber of field in a very, very big, intense event, and he is succeeding, and he is exceeding. He is succeeding and exceeding expectations, I have to say.
Well, Marian Kremers right now, this again feels all too familiar. It looks like he was pushing early on to try and catch Danny Formal. Now he started to fade a little bit, maybe dial things back and just kind of ride and hang on to 2nd. Bring that 1-2 front row starting spot for the team. Kyle Wick under pressure here. He is continuously going backwards right now. Not the right direction for the number 2 plate, because Jay Irwin, the sophomore in the shifter class, he is all over him here to crack the top 5.
Yeah, this is going to be a really big moment for Jay Irwin. You know, Kyle Wick, the number 2 plate, will not want to be passed, and Jay Irwin has to try and be, you know, maturity, speed, decisiveness. He's got to put that PSL machine in the right place at the right time and make the move against a very experienced driver in Wick, who is not going to want to be passed as they come into turn number 6. I think I know why Danny Formal is pulling away so much. You said that he had to really get his foot down to get here from Sebring because he ran a bit late. I think he's thinking to himself, well, he didn't tell you in his text message that he's got about 77 speeding tickets on the interstate, so he needs prize money to pay the speeding fines.
Yeah, maybe here for Danny Formal. We'll see what his total net weekend ends up looking like if he gets a $5,000 bonus towards whatever else was the cost. But Jay Irwin, to be fair, he's not the only one catching Kyle Wick. Jacob Gulick, Kyle's teammate, might have gone the other way on setup because he's starting to come alive. He's matching the pace of the leaders. The number 3 plate is catching his teammate, and we're going to have a 3-way fight for 5th, 6th, and 7th here before we know it. And don't look now, but AJ Myers is not too far back there in the number 28.
Yeah, indeed. Vincenzo Saracino and Anthony Martello rounding out your top 10. We've still got 24 karts running out of the 26 starters as we run lap number 10. And the sun looking continue to set in the sky. The karts, the graphics on these karts absolutely pop in the low sun as we head up Scrapyard Straight into turn number 10. And now Jay Irwin, the time is he's got to go before he gets caught, because if Gulick catches him, he will pass him, and Irwin has got to try and grab the steering wheel in one hand. He's got to grab something else with another hand and make the move. It's now or never for Jay Irwin.
Now or never indeed. Jacob Gulick not backing down at all, but he did slow a little bit last lap following. He's keeping a close eye as Irwin goes a little bit narrow there in turn 5, and Gulick missed a shift coming out of the hairpin that time, so that gap opens back up between the three of them. And again, this is one of the closer fights on the racetrack right now. This is 5th and 6th as Irwin goes a little wide there through 7 and 8. And A.J. Myers looks on from behind. Vincenzo Saraceno as well as Anthony Martella. The leaders there going through. No changes up in the front of the field.
No, indeed. Kremers has stabilized the deficit to Formal at 1 second. He is 1.8 seconds in front of Carrara, who is just under a second in front of Morgado. They are 2 seconds clear nearly of this battle. Wick, Irwin, Gulick, and then Myers. In fact, you know what? Gulick is starting to fade away a little bit again. He was putting the pressure on Irwin a couple of laps ago. Now that the 3 GFC cars is beginning to fade back. Not quite into the clutches of A.J. Myers, but there's still time for Myers to pick up another place.
Another driver to keep your eye on here is Mateus Morgado in that 4th spot on the PSL Bureau Lark up the road. Last time by, he was a little bit quicker than Giorgio Carrara, and I've been kind of monitoring that gap from 3rd to 4th. It's less than a second here, just barely less than a second between the two of them. Kremers has been kind of rubber banding with Formal, but these two, I mean, they've already traded the spot a couple times this race. That could change just as quickly as 5th, 6th, and 7th could between Kyle Wick, Jay Irwin, and Jacob Gulick. And A.J. Myers still quicker than most of the cars in front of him, or at least even. He's on the pace of Formal, a 10th and a half better than Kyle Wick and Jay Irwin, and just a little bit slower than Gulick as of last time by, which was 12 laps complete, 6 laps to go here in the 18-lap pre-final.
Yes, indeed. And one driver going in the wrong direction, Charlie Steins, the surprise entrance to Super Pole. He has faded from 11th back to 20th. We've got David Greco in 11th now. Yockel, Riccio at the back there. Ethan Boer, Joseph Lowney, Eli Fox, and Jared Ramnarayan. Look at that. There's a great scrap going on for 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Effectively last position. And in fact, actually, it's the battle from 19th place the 20th place Filip Niemkiewicz backwards. So the last 6 drivers in this race are having an almighty tussle. You could just see them flashing across the screens going on to this lap. It's a long way back, but it just goes to show the level of competition, the intensity throughout the field.
Yeah, out of turn number 9 this time here with still 4.5 laps remaining. Danny Formal to Marin Kremers. I mean, that has been almost a dead even 1 second gap. I will say further back, Jacob Gulick and Jay Irwin are starting to go at it, and Gulick is through.
Yeah, maybe he was the last time he saw this. Sparks flying over the curb. That GFC kart, the metal chassis protector, they're doing their job, have to say. But the last time we saw Gulick, he was fading back a little bit, or he looked at it. Maybe he was just cooling his tyres. I think, right, I'm going to let them cool for a lap or two and then give it one final hurrah for 5th position, and it worked.
So with that here for Jacob Gulick, now he can set sail for a lap or two and then be pretty safe. That one move has brought A.J. Myers a little bit more hope to maybe get the inside lane if he wants it, as he's only a second back, 9/10 at the line from Jay Irwin. Not giving up yet as the Magic Kart driver. And again, Mateus Morgado, Giorgio Carrara, that gap is down a couple tenths. It's not over for the 3rd place spot here, and that's a big point swing when you consider the lack of sessions these guys will have over the course of this 3-round championship.
Looking at the sparks flying, nighttime is the right time. And again, sparks flying under the karts, sparks flying. Could have sparks flying for 3rd position because Mateus Morgado is catching Giorgio Carrara on lap 16 out of 18. Morgado would dearly like to be able to have an inside starting position for the main event tomorrow. He comes up scrapyard straight. Carrara checks over his shoulder. Carrara knows his setup is going away and he's going to have to defend in the final 2 laps of this race.
Yeah, and Giorgio Carrara spent a lot of laps defending here last year at the Rock Florida Winter Tour. He knows how to make that kart nice and wide. As the 2-to-go signal flies, Marin Kremers trying to make one last lunge towards Formal. He picks up another 10th that time, but this battle, this is the highest running fight we've got on the racetrack. as the teammates for GFC are together. Little gap from Myers to Jay Irwin, but only 2 car lengths from Giorgio Carrara to Mateus Morgado.
Yes, Morgado looks poised. That number 62, the red and white Birol Art Kart, looking very, very strong at the moment. The Kart Republic into MS machine of Argentina's Carrara is working the curbs a lot. And do you know what? That gap between Kremers and Formal, which was 1 second, is now 3/4 of a second. Here comes Morgado trying to wrestle third place away. Pro Shifter coming alive as we approach the last lap.
Look at this over-under. Carrara doing a great job making that kart wide. Kremers picks up another couple tenths as Formal slows the pace down. Carrara low. Morgado trying to go around the outside in turns 1 and 2, but he can't do it. Watch this run down to turn 5. Carrara's going to need to make that thing all the way on the white line, and he does. Morgado right there, but nothing he can do as he goes low again in 6.
Well, it's going to be a great drag race down Scrapyard Straight. Of that, I am certain. Oh no, Morgado goes at the inside, flat out, banging wheels over the curb. Goes Carrara, and Morgado's going to get a run round the outside. Goes Mateus Morgado. No, this fight into turn number 10. Morgado on the marbles, understeering. Carrara retakes him, but the leaders are coming to the checkered flag. The leaders cross the line.
Formal, your pre-final winner in Pro Shifter. Marin Kremers second, and unofficially, Giorgio Carrara third to Morgado, Kyle Wick, Jacob Gulick, Jay Irwin, AJ Myers, Vincenzo Saraceno, and on to Anthony Martella, the rookie, who rounds off the top 10 at the end of it. But wow, if we can get a replay of that last lap battle, that was crazy to watch them roll on through. And for RPG, they may not be too aware of the craziness behind them, but that might have been the most aggressive pass, and I give it to Mateus. He had to get creative. Giorgio was parking that thing perfectly. Here's a look. Side by side, into him, and then Carrara's like, you know what? I got nowhere to go, but I'm not taking my foot off the throttle.
But you know what? As you looked at that there, they only made contact through turn 7 because Morgado just got one wheel on the grass. And look at the dust and the marbles he was kicking up. The kart was squirming under braking. Carrara came out in front, and there, smiles all round for Kremers and race winner Danny Formal. Well, as much of a smile as defending champion can muster when he's just been beaten by his new teammate. And Formal, they're saying, you know what, hey, I may be racing sports cars now, but my heart is always going to be in karting, and I'm always going to be a tough guy to beat.
Well, we're going to let the scale line roll through. We'll still be able to talk to drivers after they get through the scale area, but we're trying to clear things out here as Orlando Kart Center. It's been a late night. You can see the lights are on. Marion and Danny catching up after that. There's Andre Martins, the track owner, had a good view of that battle at the end of it all. But how about it for the big guy here in SKUSA Pro National regular season action? A win in Vegas, and granted not the pole in qualifying, but race-wise. Keeps that undefeated streak alive. He's back on top here in the pre-final. Mateus Morgado obviously not happy with the way his kart felt in that one, it looks like.
But I mean, I don't know what speed they're going through turn number 7 there, but it was absolutely couldn't get closer without an accident between the two of them.
Let's take a look back at the highlights here from this Pro Shifter pre-final before we take a look to it all. Here's a look down on the line. First of all, of course, Formal just barely gets that whole shot. And to be fair, Marion kind of cut him a bit of a break there and let him through. And then there was that crash top of the screen about mid-grid with one driver stalling it off there. So that was the first bit as we got underway. And, of course, the carnage just getting cleared. And that was, again, the 33 of Daniel Fellows, who had the heavy damage running into the back of one more. Then we had the opening lap battling back and forth through turn 8. Billy Musgrave getting a little bit of a hip check there from Jacob Gulick. And, of course, AJ Myers, that impressive drive on the opening lap got him into the top 10. Then a spot higher around Saraceno. Then eventually looking on at this battle here is Jay Irwin versus Jacob Gulick. Was super, super fun to watch before Gulick got around. And then here we go on the final lap. Giorgio Carrara versus Mateus Morgado for the final spot on the potential podium. Morgado found a hole, got to the inside, and then just nowhere for them to go as he closed the door on Carrara, and Carrara sends it up and over the runoff on the inside of turn number 7. And then here, down the backstretch, all that dirt, all that dust, like you said, Henry, just so much clutter on the inside. Nothing Mateus could do. He just slipped right on past the apex.
Yes, indeed. But, you know, there's his back's hurt in there because I think right. We want to know which RPG driver got caught up in that opening lap incident. There's your answer. It was at number 95, Anthony Martella, because he's hurt. Well, he's in a bit of discomfort, but I'm sure he's okay. And, you know, Vincenzo Saracino, he looks a little bit hot and bothered. He was the driver that stalled at the start of the race. So, again, lucky to make it to the end was Vincenzo Saracino. And looking down there, you know, any damage on the back end of that Kartworks USA Maranello kart? No. But, you know, some of the other faces going through. There's David Greco. And, of course, you know, at least all these drivers now, the tyres, they're going out on fresh tyres. But, of course, you know, none of these drivers are ever going to be happy with finishes outside the top 10 because that's why they're the pro drivers. You know, they're used to winning. Now, Mateus Morgado speaking to his Imperial Art mechanic there, probably saying, you know, I had to make a move, and he's probably not going to be too happy with Carrara. Say, well, Carrara missed the track. But, you know, Carrara's thinking, okay, you're on the inside, but you're not in front of me, and Morgado wasn't ahead. What do I do? We can drive into that corner side by side and have an airplane crash, or, you know, I can go off.
Well, let's go down to Alex here from one guy who didn't have to worry about any of that because he got the lead in turn 1 and pulled away for all 18 laps and managed that gap nicely. Danny Formal is your pre-final winner and pro shifter, Alex.
Thank you, guys. Danny, you just gave me a great soundbite there. I mean, you said you've never been that tired after a pre-final in your entire life. Describe to me how you're feeling.
Like I said, it's a long day for me, right? Woke up at 6:30, was at Sebring, drove the Super Trofeo, was awesome. Great test. We won P1 this morning in the Super Trofeo with WTR Andretti, so that went awesome. So I was able to leave a little early, not rush, come here. Got here around 3 o'clock. Luckily, it was delayed. Well, sending my prayers to Mario Barrios, my teammate. He's in the hospital right now. He's in stable condition, but obviously he's quite hurt. So, yeah, wishing him the best. But, yeah, great pre-final. Marin and I had really good pace compared to everyone else. He was fast in the beginning, and at the end, I was very fast in the middle. So the gap was like, at the beginning he caught me, and then I gapped him. Then he caught me again, then I gapped him, and then he caught me again at the last couple of laps. So go back to the drawing board. There's no warm-up for me tomorrow again. Back to Sebring. Back to Sebring for me right now. So Marin, I'll try some stuff for tomorrow in the warm-up, and I'll see what he tried just to get a little more out of the kart. But right now, engines, karts, chassis, Rossi Performance Group, our engine builder, Johan and Mike, Patrick, everyone just like the go-karts. It's amazing. It's amazing. So, yeah, get some Gatorade in me, some nice carbohydrates, and get ready for more.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Marin, we heard from Danny. I mean, he mentioned it. We saw it. You're quicker than him in the first and latter part of the race. Middle stages, he pulled away from you. What did you learn from that pre-final into tomorrow's final?
I think I'm going to have a big pizza tonight. Try to grow the upper body a little bit more and get off the line better tomorrow with a little bit less wheel spin, because that's where he got me. And then getting around him is difficult. I didn't want to risk too much in the pre-final. We're in for a good position, both of us. So a front row locker is what we were looking for going into this pre-final for tomorrow. So yeah, we're happy with that. Like you said, the speed was there. But there's still things we can improve, like we're always looking for more. So yeah, back to the drawing board for me. Danny goes back to Sebring. And then I'll try some things tomorrow, and then we'll regroup before the final and make a game plan, the two of us.
Thank you, Marin.
Thank you.
And you can hear it in their voices how much these guys are worn out again. That was basically, again, Alex said Danny told him, never been that tired after a pre-final before. That was a full-length main for what they're used to running, and they got to go longer tomorrow. This is absolutely testing their physical fitness right now.
Exactly, and it's not as though these are just some club drivers. These are world champions, professional racing drivers. And the pro show is designed to test the best, to give the best a chance to shine. And I love what Danny Formal was saying. Okay, well, I'm not going to be in warm-up tomorrow, So Marion's going to try a few things on the kart, and Marion chirps in, yep, and then lie about it. Just say, we're getting the characters of the kart. But yeah, this format is testing the very best physically and mentally, because it's not every day that you see the likes of Danny Formal, Marion Kramers sweating and breathing heavily at the end of a pre-final and even admitting that it's hard work. That concludes the race. Xander, the first day of a new era of karting, we give our very best to Mario Barros, and we will attempt to give you an update on him tomorrow. Also, our driver from Chinese Taipei, Jing Chang, apparently he has got potentially a collarbone issue. He is at the hospital as well, but he walked to the hospital. We walked to the ambulance and then drove to the hospital as well. But give us your thoughts about, day one of the Pro Show.
Well, I think, like you said, Henry, this is such a shock to the system for these guys. Again, they were even meant to have a completely different practice format. Ultimately went with the regular one, added a warm-up session for them on Saturday. For a lot of guys, that was a mock qualifying run where a lot of them went to new tires. But it had a couple of goals, and one that I was really, really happy with in terms of the racing was the longer pre-final seemed to really clean things up. I was super impressed with that. We obviously saw a lot of very chaotic pre-finals today. A few of the 100cc mains were still pretty chaotic at the end.
Just a bit.
But in watching, so many races over our few years, even before that, for me just as an announcer, when that race gets under about 15 laps, it seems like at least for sure in the single speed classes, but even in shifter 2, it can get a little bit hairy. And I didn't want that. I wanted in influencing this format and bringing it to SKUSA and helping have a hand in putting it together for the Star Series as well, and just watching all of this racing. If we can get the races over 15 laps for the headline guys, we can let them flex their muscle about who's good at tire management, who's in good physical shape, who's smart and not just reckless in the opening few laps. If I get into you and knock you off the racetrack in an 8-lap heat, you might not catch me. But in an 18-lap pre-final, there's a good chance you will. So I'm going to think better about it. And I think that you saw a lot more guys thinking out there, and that's the kind of racing that I think puts our sport on the map. Last week at the Nürburgring Invitational, that was a fantastic event, a fantastic format. It had that bittersweet ending, but beyond that, there was obviously over-aggressive driving, and that was the only takeaway. And there's a lot to say about that, but that's what happens when you get the shorter races. Part of that was by design. In this case, being a national points championship, I wanted the smarter, faster, physically fit, good on their tires drivers to prevail, and I feel like that's a lot of what we got tonight.
Yes, indeed. Just a couple of things quickly. Obviously, this is the SKUSA Strong thing. Please go to the Just Giving page and please go to getpride.com. You can order and buy one of these. All proceeds go to the 4 members of the SKUSA family currently battling cancer. And we'll bring you more on that tomorrow. But, a lot of the drivers, the qualifying was really exciting.
That has to
really
be the second
dramatic
thing I'm the most proud of, for sure.
It was testing the drivers, and again, the intensity, the drivers reacted really well. Super Pole is new for everybody, and that went really well, and again, you got the finals. But also, this morning, the semi-pro classes, we got to know a lot more of the drivers. They went out, warm-up, qualifying, pre-final, final, 4 times, 6 races at a time, we were back and forth. There was no waiting around. The viewers at home, you weren't having to switch off or, come back, to see those. So that was really good. So it's a win for the semi-pros. At the moment, it's a win for the pro drivers. Tomorrow is a very, very big day, and I'm going to leave you the final word because I know how much work that you and SKUSA put into this. But, up above us, the stars are shining, but down below, the stars have shone on the track.
Yeah, these guys put on a great show today, and again, a big thanks to everyone in the paddock for being willing to play with the, call an audible and how quickly we went to the semi-pro podiums, back to the pro drivers, getting back to the grid very quickly. Tomorrow, again, the pressure will really be on us. That main event, part of the idea of having them come to the grid early and cutting 1 or 2 sessions or a couple of laps here and there for the pros is a little higher purse money, a little less engine and tire time, but more than anything else, we want to reveal to you guys more of the grid, more than just the top 3 guys. We did a very brief amount of interviews in the pro drivers today, and even then that was still a good bit. Tomorrow for the main events, we want to feature all the way down to the grid. We'll talk to the likes of Charlie Steins and his breakout qualifying effort in the heartbreak in the pre-final. Anthony Martella, what an impressive day debut with RPG for that driver to start inside the top 10 for the main tomorrow, and a lot of other storylines through the grid that we don't normally get to bring you. And that's a big part of the drivers. Anyone that enters in these pro classes, it's not just winning that's going to get you some exposure and hopefully make you look like the superstar that you are. So that's all tomorrow, folks. Thanks for all of you that stuck with us for a very long stream today. We are pushing almost 11 hours right now of continuous streaming.
Perfect.
Hopefully tomorrow we go a little bit shorter, but it's still a full day. We're live at 8 a.m. for the semi-pros. And again, the big difference for those of you that are KC Pre members and still listening now, tomorrow's pro show, those main events, the pre and the post-race festivities, fully free to put our sport on the map and hopefully put out the good racing that the sport can provide, and hopefully something like what we saw tonight. So thanks for watching. For Henry, for our KC team, Superkarts USA, the Orlando Kart Center staff, our good buddies at EKN as well, with David Cole here on site, and everyone in the paddock, 250 drivers. We're going green tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for round 2 for the semi-pros and the main events of the pro show.